A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Rupert Barlow's valet and bodyguard has just returned from Bermuda to Rupert's magnificent Long Island estate in Oyster Bay. He came in late last night, long after Rupert had retired. And so this morning he's making his first entrance to Rupert's bedroom.
Morning, boss.
Victor. In heaven's name, when did you get back? Why didn't you let me know?
Well, it was late, boss. You were in bed. Some trip we had back. I've been waiting downstairs till you rang for breakfast, so I brought it up. You want it there or over on the table?
Right here. Oh, that's good. Now then, just what's been going on down there in Bermuda? Why have you waited all this time to get back?
Well, you know how it is, Mr. Barlow. Hard to get reservations and all.
Nonsense. I don't believe it.
Well, gee, after all the trouble I went
And
to...
about Miss Julia?
Well, I don't figure her out, boss. I don't get it at all.
Suppose you tell me what's going on down in Bermuda.
She's got a boyfriend.
Yeah, so you cabled me. Who is he? What kind of a fellow?
Well, he's tall, and he's got light hair. He's tanned real dark, so I guess he's been down there for a long time.
Oh. How did you meet Miss Julia? What's all this nonsense about?
Don't ask me. I suppose she met him around the hotel or something. You know how it is, Mr. Barlow.
But I distinctly ordered her to come back home.
Sure, but I guess she was plenty burned up when you run out on her, leaving her there all alone.
Well, that's not any of her business. After all, Julia Dixon is in my employ. She's been paid, and very well, too, for over 10 years, to be here in Oyster Bay and look after my household and my personal correspondence.
Well, don't tell me about it, boss. I gave her the message like you said, and she turned on me and said, "Sorry, Victor. I have no intention of leaving Bermuda for at least another week." And then she turns to this guy and they walk off. Cool as you please.
Huh. Never heard of such a thing. Julia Dixon, of all people, making a fool of herself over some upstart.
Well, to tell the truth, boss, he's a pretty nice-looking kid.
Kid? You mean he's only a boy?
He's sure plenty younger than Miss Julia, and no insults, miss.
The idea. That makes it even more ridiculous.
Oh, he ain't that young, boss. He looks plenty savvy, like he knows his way around, all right. Only it's funny the way he fell for her. He's tagging after her all the time, looking into her eyes like he thought she was just plain gorgeous, and laughing and talking.
That's enough, Victor. I don't want to hear any more.
Okay, Mr. Barlow, only you asked.
Miss Julia's a very attractive woman.
Sure.
But she's also very inexperienced in many ways.
Yeah?
I wouldn't like to see her get into the hands of some adventurer.
Why not? She hasn't got anything to lose.
Well, I wouldn't say that. What's more, I don't like this business one bit. I'm worried about her.
Yeah? Maybe you shouldn't have run out on her like you did.
I had my reasons for coming back.
Sure, boy, sure. But it's like I said. Miss Julia's got plenty of reason for wanting to stay down in Bermuda. This guy is sure giving her one hot rush. Hey, look out, you knocked over the cream pitcher.
Well, get this fool tray off my lap and let me get up before I throw the whole thing on the floor.
Sure, boy, sure. Take it easy now. Don't step on the broken china.
What?
Let me put this down. Yeah, I'll get your slippers. There, now.
No, that's better. Now then, fill my cup.
Sure, Mr. Barlow. How you been making out since you got back?
It's been absolutely frightful. Never had such a wretched time in my whole life.
How come? You mean Mrs. Noble? Hey, how'd she explain about her not being on that Bermuda boat?
I was not referring to Mrs. Noble.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know. I thought that's why you come back to find out about it.
Not at all. When I got here, I found an uninvited guest. Settled right in the house as if it belonged to her.
Her? What do you mean?
Miss Vincent, remember her? Claudia Vincent.
Holy cow, I'll say I do. The dame with the honey-colored hair and the mother who went along trying to marry her off to some guy with dough, preferably you.
No, That's a vulgar way of putting it, Victor, but it covers the facts.
Where'd she pop up from?
Heaven only knows. But she was here, and what's more, she wouldn't leave. She's trying to blackmail me into paying her back all the money her foolish mother lost in a wild stock speculation over 10 years ago.
I hope you told her to go peddle her papers.
Well, I was furious, naturally, but I didn't want to make a scene.
I'd have shoved her off the reservation, and no mistake.
That's precisely why I cabled for you to get back at once.
I see. I get it now, boy. She's still here?
No. She left, quite suddenly, after firing 2 shots at me out of a gun.
Hey, you kidding?
Does it strike you as a good subject for a joke?
Holy smoke, Mr. Barlow. What'd you do, call in the police?
No, I was persuaded not to. And she left.
Oh, just a sec. Where'd she go?
She is living at present in Rosehaven with Larry and Mary Noble.
Mr. and Mrs. Noble. Hey, what is this?
That's what I'd like to know. Larry Noble invited her, and perhaps he thinks he was being smart. But he may be very sorry before this is over. I won't forget the insult of taking Claudia Vincent's part against me. Here, take this confounded tray and put it somewhere else. Then start the water for my shower. I'm too restless to stay indoors anymore.
Okay, boss. I'll get the water regulated in a second.
Just before noon, Mary Noble returns to her Rosehaven home after doing some shopping. And as she leaves the car and walks through the house, she finds it deserted, except for Phoebe in the kitchen. And so she walks out to the flagstone terrace at the rear.
Oh, so this is where you are, Larry. I was beginning to wonder.
Hello, honey.
Good morning, Mary. Larry and I are trying to get the start of a suntan.
Where you been all this time, Mary?
I had some shopping to do in the village, and you were still sleeping.
Oh, that's probably my fault, Mary. I kept Larry up to such a disgraceful hour, reading a play with him.
So he told me, Claudia.
Really? What did he say? No, I mean honestly. Did he say I was terrible or what?
As a matter of fact, he said you were very good.
Oh, darling, how wonderful. If only I could get a chance to get into a Broadway company, but I'm sure I never shall.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. You've got plenty of ability. I could tell that from just listening last night.
No, bless you for saying that, Larry.
Why don't you get into some sun clothes, honey, and come and join us?
Perfectly wonderful out here. No wind or anything. And your garden's utterly charming. Larry's been telling me how you do it all yourself.
Yes, I enjoy working in the garden.
How clever of you, Mary. Personally, I don't know the first thing about flowers except to take them out of a box and put them into water.
That's about as far as my knowledge goes, too. But come on, Mary, join us.
I'm sorry, dear, but I'm afraid I can't. I have a rather important errand to do, if you'll excuse me.
Yeah, but why? I mean...
Don't you see that she's made plans, Larry? You mustn't ever try to pin a woman down. It's not nice.
Well, all right, but
I've arranged with Phoebe to bring you lunch whenever you're ready. You could have it out here if you like.
But I've only just finished breakfast, my dear.
You speak for yourself, Claudia. I'm hungry.
And Larry, suppose you just tell Phoebe when you want it.
Well, aren't you even going to join us, me, for lunch?
I'm afraid not, darling. I want to take the car and get this errand attended to. That is, if you weren't planning to use it.
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, I had kind of half promised Claudia to drive her over to the club and show her my sailboat, but it wasn't...
Oh, now, Larry. No, that's not necessary. We can do it any other time. Besides, I think I'd rather just lie out here in the sun than anything else in the world.
Okay, then. That suits me fine.
Very well, then. I hope you'll be comfortable. I'll be back in plenty of time, Larry, in case you want to drive to New York this evening.
Well, I don't know.
In any case, I'll be back soon.
You see? What did I tell you?
What do you mean?
About Mary.
And what about Mary?
She resents me being here.
Oh, nonsense, Claudia.
Larry, I know I can tell. She dislikes me so much that she can't even bear to stay at home while I'm here.
Oh, you've got her all wrong. Mary isn't like that. Not a bit like that.
No use, Larry. You're sweet to try to pretend. But I know that Mary won't rest until I tell her I'm leaving.
Larry frowns as he hears these words, and he wonders whether or not there's some truth in them. Then he thinks about Rupert Barlow and his jaw set in a stubborn line. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Courtesy.
This is the story of the second expedition to the planet of Landro. I'm recording it for any future expeditions which might land on this godforsaken sphere, in the hope that they may learn from our tragic example. As I write, there are 2 of us left. 2 out of an original complement of 180 men. One of us, myself, will be dead in less than 23 minutes. As for the other, heaven have mercy on him, I do not know. On June 3rd, 1997, less than 2 months ago, the last of our supply ships blasted off from Lando for their return to Earth. After it had gone, I remember looking out across the plain at the dead city, one of thousands that dotted this planet. It had tall, graceful buildings, atomic power systems, vacuum conveyors, all perfect, all deserted, all ominous. How had it happened? The best guess was that the plague had frightened the original inhabitants of the planet so that they'd piled into rocket ships and headed for some distant planet. I often wondered why a civilization so advanced as Landro could not find a serum to beat the plague. It had taken our Earth doctors less than 6 months to develop an immunization method. Well, maybe those aborigines back in the hills knew the answer. That strange, ugly little people who had taken to the caves the day we landed. I was thinking these things when something happened that gave me the shock of my life.
Good evening, Captain.
Oh, what brings you here, Doctor?
It's the matter of the serum, sir.
Oh, what about the serum?
It's no good.
No good?
It's too old. 10 years too old.
Didn't you examine it?
Yes, I did, but, well, my eyesight has been failing lately.
Are you aware, Doctor, that the last supply ship has returned to Earth? Do you know we'll have no more contact for 2 years? How long do you give us?
Well, the present immunity will last a week or so. Then, without booster shots, it's just a question of time until someone picks up the plague. After that...
What about the natives? They don't die from the plague?
The accepted theory is that they have developed an immunity.
Well, suppose they haven't developed an immunity, Doctor. Suppose they get the disease.
Then they must have a treatment for it. If they don't, there would be no natives.
Would you be willing to go on an expedition to the hills to find out?
At this point, Captain, I'd be willing to do anything. Absolutely anything. I'm truly sorry.
You're sorry? Dr. Morgan, sometime when you aren't too busy, when you have a moment, I'd hate to inconvenience you. Would you mind telling me how it feels to murder 180 men? 181, including yourself. I did a lot of thinking after Dr. Morgan left my hut. It was still unreal for me. After all, the planning of an expedition was no simple thing. You put into it the result of years of training and experience, years of study at the academy, years of learning how to handle men and natives. Every man on my crew was hand-picked for his skill. And yet, a simple thing like a myopic surgeon misreading a label could blast the whole thing. Yes, it was a shame. And I did the only thing I could think of. I yelled for Bat Ears Brady. Brady! Get your carcass in here. Take the lead out.
Okay. Now, what's up?
Sit down, Bat Ears.
You got trouble, Cap?
We got trouble.
What?
The serum's no good.
What?
Morgan forgot to check it. It's 10 years too old.
Holy jumping snails. You're going to court-martial
That wouldn't do much good. We'll all be dead pretty soon unless somebody figures something out.
Well, what are you going to do, Kev?
Well, there's only one chance. One chance in 10 million.
What?
The natives.
Them cave rats. What good can they do us?
Well, they don't get the plague, so maybe they know a cure.
Okay. Let's get a few of them and beat it out of them.
That's why you're here.
Shoot.
How'd you like to come along on a little expedition up to the cave country? You, me, the doctor, and Faulkner.
Faulkner? Now, listen, Cap, he's worse than the doctor.
Yes, but he knows more about the native culture than anybody here. He's the only one who's completely familiar with the records of the first expedition.
Okay, so it's me, you, the doc, and Faulkner. When do we start?
Tonight, in half an hour. We should reach the cave country by tomorrow. With luck, we'll be able to find natives before night. Benny Faulkner was the expedition anthropologist. One of the most unfortunate-looking individuals I've ever met. An ugly man with large ears and a big nose. His body was small and consumptive, but he had a good brain. And he was the best anthropologist the Interplanet Institute could recommend. He and Dr. Morgan were the only two civilians on the expedition. We set out, and after several hours hard walking...
Cap.
Now, what is it?
Don't look now, but very slowly turn your eyes to the right and look behind that big yellow rock.
Okay.
You see anything?
No?
Well, keep looking. Don't stop walking. Right on.
Okay.
There.
Yes, it looked like a shadow or something.
It's one of them gimpos. He's been following us now for almost an hour, dodging in and out behind the rocks. Shall I bring him in?
No, not yet. Just pretend you don't see him. Tell the others if they notice to show no fear. There's nothing will start these simple-minded cavemen like fear. The manual said, under no circumstances shall a member of the patrol display fear before a native. The dignity of the Earthman must be preserved at all costs. Just before dawn, we reached the cave country. We were tired and hungry, and we stopped to cook some food and rest. Everything was quiet. There was no sign of the gimpo which had been trailing us until...
Okay, get in there, you sneaking little monkey man. Come on, before I break this shovel on your stern.
Yeah, what's the trouble?
Cap, I caught me one of these gimpos sneaking around outside the tent.
Bring him in the light of the fire. We can get a look at him. Faulkner?
Yes, sir?
Keep an eye on him. Try to establish some communication.
All right, get in there.
Look out. No need to knock him down, bat is.
Oh, that's the only language they understand.
See if you can reach him, Faulkner.
Okay, Captain. I'll need a drum of some sort.
A what?
Well, they have no language as we know it, and they have a very rudimentary sense of hearing. I find they communicate with one another through a very primitive kind of vibration of the tongue. The closest I can come is a series of drum beats, a sort of Morse code. The psychologist on the first expedition had it worked out before he was killed by the plague. I've studied his notes, and I think it'll work.
You mean these little critters can talk to one another?
Yes, I believe they can. At any rate, we'll have a chance to find out. Do we have something I can use for a drum?
Here. Take my water bottle.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, I'll tap it 3 times. That's a greeting of some sort.
Just a moment.
Yes, sir?
I don't want you treating this fellow like an equal. Don't give them the idea that we're desperate. Once they sense that, you're lost.
I have to communicate with him, sir.
Now, just bear in mind what I said. Dignity.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best, sir.
It was a strange sight. On one side of the water bottle crouched little Benny Faulkner, looking for all the world like a human spider. Across from him crouched the Landrian, a humpbacked, gray little creature with an enormous head and those huge, soft lavender eyes. Every few moments, one would stop the strange tattoo of communication, and the other would take it up. I'm setting forth in this narrative the most vital part of their conversation. as Benny Faulkner later transcribed it from the best of his memory. Benny asked, "Why were your cities abandoned? Was it the plague?" The native said yes. Benny said, "Do you still fear the plague?" The native answered yes. "Do any of your people become afflicted?" The answer was some. "How do you treat them?" Silence. "How can we find a cure for the plague?" More silence. Then the native said, "Go among my people." Then he asked, "Will we find the answer among your people?" And the native replied, "My people have the answer." Then he said, "Will you tell me the answer?" The native repeated, "Go among my people." As far as the Landrian was concerned, the conversation was ended. He rose to go, and Faulkner stepped from his path, but Brady was there to ensure the bet.
Hold on there, bucko. You ain't going no place.
Don't maltreat him, Brady. What did he say, Penny?
He says his people have the answer.
What do you think?
There may be some truth in it. He says some of his people still get the plague.
That must mean it isn't a question of immunity. They must have a cure.
Well, he wasn't clear on that.
Then they must have a vaccine to keep it from spreading.
Does he know?
His answer is for us to go among his people.
Well, that leaves it up to us. The first level of caves is on top of that cliff about a mile ahead.
It's a trap. I'll bet my last dollar on it.
Well, maybe not. We'll have to risk it.
Wait.
Well?
Let me go. I got you all into this.
But how will you talk?
Benny here can give me enough of the code so I can ask the big question.
You understand that they might just decide to cut your throat?
I'm fully aware of the risk.
All right, Doctor. You go ahead. We'll wait at the foot of the cliff. If you aren't back down in 3 hours, we'll come up after you.
What about the Gimpo here?
We'll hold him as a hostage to ensure the doctor's safety. If the doc comes back, all right, we'll let him go. If not, well, that's your job, Brady.
A pleasure.
It took Dr. Morgan about an hour to pick his way up the side of the cliff to the first of the openings where the Landrians lived. He waved to us before he entered the mouth of the cave, and we waved back. Then we settled down to wait. It was a long, long wait.
$8:00. He's been up there more than 3 hours, Cap.
We'll give him a little more time.
It's getting colder.
Let's keep that fire going.
How much longer are you going to wait, Cap?
Oh, we've got lots of time.
You'd think we'd have heard of something by now if they was going to knock him off, I mean.
No, not necessarily. Wait. Look, up on the cliff.
That's him, all right. Hey, what's he running for?
I don't know. He looks scared.
That crazy fool, if he don't look out...
Doctor! Dr. Morgan, look out! Look out! We found the doctor at the foot of the cliff, crumpled and broken. There were no marks on his body, nothing except a twisted, mocking grin on his face. Oh, yes, and one other thing. Scrawled across the pad he had taken with him on which to make notes concerning the answer was a single word. The word was courtesy. We threw the paper away. The expedition was a failure, though Bat Ears claimed he'd get it out of the Gimpo if I'd let him. I nodded in agreement. Bat Ears took the little native off behind an outcropping of rock. He was back in 15 minutes, dripping with sweat.
Well, let's go, Cap.
Nothing, huh?
But nothing.
Is he...
They ain't made very good, these little gray people. They come apart too easy, so let's go, huh, Cap?
All right. Benny... Benny, what is it?
I feel kind of sick. All of a sudden, in the back of my head, a dull kind of pain.
Let me see your tongue. Come on, give him a hand, Bat Ears. We've got to get him back to camp.
What is it?
I'm not sure, but that blackness on the tongue and the headache, it could be the plague. By the time we got Benny Faulkner back to camp, he had the red spots on his body, and then the fever began to rage. It was the plague, no mistake about it. Before morning, Collins, the supply sergeant, had it. Then it was Peabody. After that, the men went down like 10 pins. Then one morning, Bat Ears Brady dragged himself into my tent and sat down. The lines in his face told me the end was coming pretty fast. Sit down, Brady. Well, what's the count?
6 left. We buried the chaplain today. Got anything to drink?
Sorry, I'm all out.
How about a cigarette, then? You got a cigarette?
Yeah, sure. Here. How's Faulkner?
I don't get it. He's still alive.
Still alive?
Yep. In fact, he's getting better. He's sitting up.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, this is a good cigarette.
It's like any other.
No. This one's different, Cabby. This is my last.
What do you mean, Brady?
Take a look at my tongue. See? Little black spots.
Somehow I managed to get him into bed. He was already raving when I gave him the last of the morphine. It was incredible. Big, brawling, Bat Ears Brady, a tower of strength, lying sick and whimpering on a cot. When he died, I went out on the moors to think. The sun was a dull red glow. Cold breeze whipped up. But somehow I couldn't forget Faulkner. Why should Faulkner recover from a plague from which no man has ever recovered? Surely there must be a reason. Nothing happened without a reason. I turned and went back to see Benny Faulkner.
Hello, Captain.
Hello, Benny. How are you?
Pretty good. I got up and walked a couple of steps today. How goes it?
Brady's gone. Oh. I just buried him. Listen, Benny, there must be some reason why.
Well, there's nothing strange about me, nothing different from any other man.
There must be. You survived the virus. Benny, I want you to tell me everything you know about yourself, everything you can remember. Because somewhere in your makeup is some little thing that makes the difference. If I can find that thing, then maybe I can do something to save myself and the rest. Even if I can't, at least I can leave a record for any future expedition that comes to Landreau. Okay?
Okay, Captain. Where should I start?
At the beginning. I'm going to take notes.
Well, I was born on the 2nd of July in 1971. My parents were ordinary people. My father was... Look, Captain, I've told you everything I can remember. 3 days now you've gone over me, pawed me, questioned me. What else can I tell you?
Benny, let's go over that last part once again.
Where should I start?
Take it from where the native started to walk away. You stepped out of his path, and Brady grabbed him.
Okay, so I stepped out of his path.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why did you step out of his path?
Why not? Courtesy, I guess. What's the matter?
Courtesy. That's the word that Dr. Morgan had scrawled in his notebook.
Well, I don't see that.
I don't either. Tell me, Benny, why should you want to be courteous to a native?
Why not?
What about maintaining your own dignity?
Are you talking about dignity or arrogance?
I don't know. Benny, listen, maybe we were all wet in our deductions. Maybe these cities here on Landreau weren't deserted centuries ago. Maybe these little people up in the caves are the same people who used to live in those big cities.
Why would they leave?
Maybe they found out the big cities weren't the answer. Maybe they found out that civilization doesn't necessarily bring happiness. So they just packed up and left, returned to the simple.
No, it doesn't make sense. You're forgetting the plague.
What is the plague, Benny?
Well, I don't know.
Is it a virus?
I don't think they ever found out.
You know what I think?
What?
I think the plague is nothing more than what we know as greed and arrogance.
Captain, you're going off your rocker.
I think maybe we're in line to die. Serum was good. In fact, I don't think the serum had anything to do with it.
Oh, I never heard anything as crazy, fantastic in my life.
No? Well, I think I'll go back to my tent and finish writing the report. I am beginning to sweat a little.
Captain, maybe it isn't the plague.
It is. I've seen it too many times to kid myself about it.
Maybe hot compresses or something.
No, Ben.
Listen, Captain, you don't believe that junk about courtesy, do you? I mean, that's a lot of nonsense. You must know that. Holy mackerel, Captain. You do believe it, don't you?
Good night, Benny. I think I'd like to be alone for a while.
Okay. Good night, Captain.
Maybe the supply ship will be early. You can probably stick it out.
Sure. Good night, Captain.
And this concludes my report. I'm turning it over to Benny Faulkner in the hopes that he will be able to transmit it to any other expedition commander who contemplates exploring the planet of Landro. The fever is beginning to mount now. My hands tremble as I write. The end should not be far off. There's little question in my mind as to what it'll be. You see, I didn't have a chance. I stepped out of no paths. I showed no courtesy.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Courtesy, adapted for radio by George Lefferts from the story by Clifford Simad. Featured in the cast were Brett Morrison as Captain Ira Warren, Arnold Robertson as Battiers Brady, Edwin Jerome as Dr. Morgan, and Bill Griffiths as Benny Faulkner. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Ken McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, the frontier is a strange place, and a frontier is not always easy to recognize. It may lie on the other side of a simple door marked No Admittance, but it is always deadly dangerous. What happens when an innocent girl ignores a single regulation? You will find out next week at X-1.
When you buy United States savings bonds, you help to build your own future security. Here's an opportunity to save systematically for long-range personal objectives. And with their increased yield and other improvements, U.S. savings bonds are a better investment than ever before.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents X-1. Tonight's story.
Cold Equations.
There is no margin of safety along the rim of a frontier. There can't be any until the way is made for those who come later. Until then, the penalty for mistakes is a grim one. The laws of physical nature operate with irrevocable certainty, with no room for mercy, kindness, or sentimentality. In space, life becomes a cold equation, and the equal sign is often followed by death. I know. I'm the pilot of an EDS.
Come in.
You sent for me, Commander?
Yes. Sit down, Barton. We just got an ED from the Territorial Space Station on Woden.
Woden. That's in the Crab Nebula, isn't it?
That's right. There are 2 exploration parties there on Manning's continent. 8 men each.
Mm-hmm.
They've got calla fever in one of them and no serum.
Oh, and I thought this was going to be a nice, quiet passenger run.
Computers are working out your payload and your course right now. In exactly 10 minutes, we'll drop into normal space and launch your ship.
I'll get her ready.
One thing.
What's that?
Woden is at the maximum pay limit for an EDS. Figuring the weight of the serum, we'll be able to give you just enough fuel to land on Manning's continent if you make it the first pass. Otherwise, you'll burn out in midair.
Mm-hmm. Standard procedure.
Report to launching control.
Right.
Good luck, Barton.
Thanks. Oh, by the way.
Yes?
When can I expect to be picked up?
We'll make a stop on the run back to Earth sometime next year. You'll be notified by radio.
Okay.
Sorry, we can't make it sooner.
That's what happens when you sign on for EDS work. I'll see you next year, Commander. Down in the belly of the Stardust, the crew was working like beavers to get the EDS, the emergency dispatch ship, ready. Mechanics and technicians were swarming all over the place. Girls in inspectors' uniforms were checking the gauges in the supply cabinet. 9 minutes later, the exact course was in the computer. The serum was stowed in my supply cabinet closet, and little EDS 4G3 was ready to be born into space.
Barton?
Yes, sir.
30 seconds to blast off. All set?
All set.
I'm turning you over to traffic.
Ready.
Traffic control. Come in, EDS 4G3.
Ready.
20 seconds. Lock open. 15 seconds. Space drive on.
Space drive on.
10 seconds. Gravity neutralizer on.
Neutralizer on.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
I don't remember how long it was afterwards that I first noticed something wrong. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. There was nothing to show it except the needle and the heat gauge. It was on 0 when we left the Stardust, and now I noticed that it had crept up toward the 30 mark. That meant something inside the ship was radiating heat. That something was in the supply closet, and it was alive. All right, come out. Whoever or whatever you are, if you don't come out in 5 seconds, I'm going to blast you. 1, 2. Well, I'll be...
Hello. I'm Marilyn Lee Cross.
What are you doing in there?
I'm a stowaway.
Oh, my...
What's the matter? Do I have to pay a fine or something?
What are you doing here?
I wanted to see my husband.
Who's your husband?
He's with the government survey crew on Woden. I haven't seen him since he left Earth 4 years ago.
Okay. But what made you hide in my EDS?
I have a job waiting for me on Mimir, but I heard you were going to Woden and there was plenty of room, so I hid. Oh, I knew I'd be breaking some kind of rule, but what's one little rule?
What's one little rule? H amount of fuel will power an EDS with a mass of M safely to its destination. H amount of fuel will not power an EDS with a mass of M plus X safely to its destination. Well, how could she be expected to know? She was 5'2" with brown curly hair and the faint, sweet smell of perfume. She was 5'2" and she smelled like apple blossoms. And her name was X in an equation that would have to be balanced.
Stardust. Come in, EDS. Come in.
This is Barton, emergency dispatch pilot 4G3.
Go ahead.
Give me Commander Delhart.
What's the message, EDS?
I have to consult Commander Delhart.
The commander is busy.
Listen, you squirt. Give me Commander Delhart.
One moment, 4G3. Commander Delhart. Emergency message from ETS 4G3.
This is Delhart. What is it?
At 0800 hours, I discovered a stowaway aboard my ship.
A stowaway?
Yes, sir.
Well, have you notified ship's records?
Not yet, sir.
You know the regulations as well as I do.
Of course I know the regulations. That's why I'm calling.
Martin, what's going on?
Sir, this is a girl. A young woman.
Oh.
She wanted to see her husband on Woden. She didn't know what she was doing.
I see.
I wondered, sir, maybe the cruiser could change course or something?
I'm afraid not. We're hundreds of light years apart now. We have a limited fuel supply ourselves, with 900 passengers.
Is there any chance?
No.
Okay, Skipper.
Better get the information to ship's records.
Okay.
Martin.
Skipper?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
You cut our acceleration, didn't you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, save fuel. For a while. How did you manage to stow away?
I was taking a language lesson in Mimirese from a girl in the inspection corps. The order came in for your trip, and I just went along on an impulse. It was easy. I'll be a model prisoner, I promise.
Oh, if you were only a thief or a spy, it would make it easier.
Make what easier?
Forget it. Why couldn't she have been somebody with some ulterior motive, a fugitive, hoping to lose himself in a raw new world, a crackpot with a mission? Why did she have to be a woman? A beautiful, kind, trusting woman?
Stardust.
Barton, EDS 4G3.
Go ahead, 4G3. Identify a stowaway.
Give me your identification disc, Miss Cross.
Here. Why?
Well, it's for ship's records. Identification number T8374.
One moment. This is for the gray card, of course.
Yes.
I'll need the time of...
I'll tell you later.
That's highly irregular.
Then we'll do it in a highly irregular manner. The subject is a young woman. She's listening to everything that's said. Are you capable of understanding that?
Oh. Go ahead, 4G3.
Number T8374-Y54. Name, Marilyn Lee Cross. Female, married. Born July 7th, 2160. Good Lord, you're only a child. Height, 5 feet 2 inches. Weight, 110. Hair, brown. Eyes, blue. Complexion, light. Blood type, O. Original destination, Port City, Mimir. Listen, I'll call you back later. Look, miss.
Marilyn.
Look, Marilyn. I guess you don't know what you got yourself into here. Well, it's like this. This ship is carrying Calla fever serum to the survey group on Woden.
Yes.
Their supply was wrecked in a tornado. The fever is always fatal unless the serum is given in the first 48 hours. Now, these little ships have exactly enough fuel to reach their destination. If you stay aboard her, your added weight will cause it to use up all its fuel before it can land.
What happens then?
We crash. You die, I die, and 6 fever victims on Woden die.
Well, can't they send out another ship to meet us?
There are no ships to send.
Well, Oh, no. Oh, no, you couldn't do that.
That's how it has to be.
But that's crazy. I haven't done anything. I haven't hurt anybody.
I'm sorry. I should have told you before, but I wanted to make sure there was no other way.
You mean it? You're going to make me leave this ship?
That's how it is.
But I'll die. I'll explode. I'll be like those horrible pictures about...
Try to understand.
I do understand. You're going to kill me, and I didn't do anything.
I know you didn't. That has nothing to do with it.
It has everything to do with it. Nobody just dies like that for no reason. Oh, listen. Maybe there are other cruisers. Cruisers you don't know about. Maybe the radio. Maybe it...
Now, listen to me. It's different here. Different from anything you've ever known. On Woden, there are 16 men. 16 men on an entire world. They're fighting. Fighting an alien environment. The environment fights back. You can only make a mistake once.
And I made a mistake.
Yes.
There's no hope.
Absolutely none. You'll have to be put out of the ship. It was better so. With the going of all hope would go the fear. Then would come the resignation. She needed time, and there was so little.
EDS. Starship to EDS. Need pertinent data.
All right, Starship.
When do you expect to complete your report?
I need a computer check.
I'll give you statistics. Statistics.
This is EDS 4G3. I'm intersecting course vector 7.3 at 0831. Deceleration 1750, weight 1 ton. I would like to stay at point 10 as long as the computers allow. Will you give them the question?
Check. I'll call you back.
We wouldn't have long to wait. The new factors would be fed into the steel maw of the computer bank, and the electrical impulses would go through the complex circuits. Here and there, a relay would click, a tiny cog turn over. But it would be the current, formless, mindless, invisible, which would determine with utter precision how long the pale young girl beside me would live. 5 little segments of metal in the second bank would trip against an inked ribbon, and the machine would spit out the answer.
You will resume deceleration at 1910.
It was 1810 when he spoke. 1 hour. She has 1 hour to live. That's it.
All I did was hide in a closet. And now you tell me I have to die. I don't believe it.
You might as well get used to it.
If this happened back on Earth, 1,000 ships would fill the sky. The whole world would know about it. They'd do everything to save me.
This isn't Earth.
It was such a big dream. Jerry and I separated almost 5 years ago. We were too young. And I was going to see him to try to make everything all right again. Are you married?
I was.
Oh?
She ran off with some guy in the weather service.
Do you still think about it?
I don't let myself.
Where is she?
Back on Earth. Look, if you don't mind, I'd just as soon talk about something else.
Okay. What do you do when you've got an hour to live? What do you talk about?
What's Jerry like?
Jerry? Oh, he's a funny guy. When he found out, I mean about the other fella, he didn't get mad. He cried. That was all he felt, sadness.
So you walked all over him?
Well, I thought I wanted him to get mad at me, to be jealous.
And now?
I've been thinking about him for 5 years. So when I heard the ship was bound for Woden and I knew Jerry was there, I stowed away. I didn't know about the fuel. I didn't know this would happen to me.
She had violated a man-made law that said keep out. The penalty was not of man's making or desire. It was not a penalty men could revoke. H amount of fuel will power an EDS with a mass of M's safely to its destination. The time was 1830. 40 minutes. It was beginning to get me. A space frontier is a rough place, and I'd seen 100 men die since I left Earth. But this was different. I watched her as she wrote a message to her folks. I watched her as she fought her way through the black horror of fear toward the calm gray of acceptance. And then there it was on the view screen. The planet Woden. A red ball enshrouded in the blue haze of its atmosphere, swimming in space against the background of star-sprinkled blackness. The chronometer on the instrument panel said 1845. Listen, we're in radio range of Woden now. I mean, would you want me to try to contact your husband?
Jerry?
It'd mean he would know you're going to die. There'd be nothing anyone can do.
Yes. I would like to talk to him. Do you think we can?
Well, the planet is turning. If his group is on the side facing us, we might be able to reach him.
We'll try.
All right. Hello. Hello, Woden. EDS to Government Survey Group. Can you hear me? Come in, Woden. They may not be monitoring.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Identify yourself, please.
This is Government Survey Group 1 on Planet Woden.
This is John Barton, EDS pilot.
You have the serum?
Yes. How bad is it?
1 man died last night. 6 have the fever. How long will it take to...
I start deceleration at 1910 hours. I should be able to land at 1930.
Thank God.
Look, do you have a Gerald Cross in charge of the group?
Commander Cross? Yes, we do.
Could I speak to him?
He isn't here. He's out with the survey team.
Well, when do you expect him?
Can't say.
How do you read me? How much time do we have left for communication?
Less than 15 minutes.
All right. If Commander Cross comes back before we lose radio contact, will you have him buzz me? It's important.
Okay, EDS.
I'll keep the set open.
Check.
The minutes passed like small bits of eternity. On the view screen, I could see Manning's continent sprawled like a gigantic hourglass in the eastern sea. There was a thin line of shadow where it was beginning to disappear as the planet turned on its axis. I looked at the pale woman next to me, and I thought of another woman long ago who'd sat next to me and cried because I wouldn't try to understand. What had she written in those letters back home? What would they think of the faceless, unknown pilot who'd sent her to her death? What would I think of myself alone nights, reliving this voyage?
Cold, isn't it?
I'll turn up the thermostat.
Nothing from Jerry?
We have about 2 minutes of radio contact left.
Maybe it's better. I mean, suppose it were you and your wife tried to call you. How would you feel?
I don't know.
Do you ever hear from her?
I got a letter about a year ago. I tore it up.
That was foolish.
Yeah, it was.
Life is so terribly short to be wandering around alone.
Well, Wait a second, we're getting something.
How much time before I have to leave the ship?
About 10 minutes.
Hello, EDS. Hello, EDS. Come in. Come in.
EDS.
This is Woden. I have Commander Cross.
All right, go ahead.
Hello. This is Commander Cross.
Jerry Cross?
Yes.
I have someone for you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Jerry?
Hello?
Jerry?
Who is it?
It's me, Marilyn.
Marilyn.
I wanted to see you again. I stowed away on the EDS.
You what? But Marilyn...
It doesn't matter, Jerry. All that matters is that I can tell you all the things I've kept inside for so long. Jerry, I want you to know I've never forgotten.
Oh, it's been so many years. I can't believe it.
I thought I'd see you again, but now I can't. Jerry, you don't hate me, do you?
Hate you? Oh, Marilyn, I've never stopped loving you. Not for an instant.
Oh, Jerry.
Listen, we don't have much time. The transmission is getting fuzzy. Oh, Marilyn, I've got to see you. There's got to be some way.
There isn't.
Let me talk to the pilot.
Hello.
Pilot, have you called the mothership? Did you have them checked with the computers?
I've done everything. You've been on the frontier long enough to know the setup in an EDS.
Oh, dear God, there must be something, some way.
Do you think I'd let this happen if I wasn't sure?
He tried to help me, Jerry. He tried. And it really doesn't matter. I'm not frightened anymore. Not now.
But how did you get here? I don't understand.
Well, I was going to Nimir to take a job, I thought. And now I realize I was just going because I'd be closer to where you were. Oh, Jerry, all this time...
No. Let me tell you something. Marilyn, I've always known you'd come back to me. I've known it every minute. It's what's kept me alive. I want you to hold that in your mind.
Jerry, I can't hear you.
We haven't much time. We're losing radio contact.
Jerry!
Don't cry, darling. Just know how I feel.
I do.
It's fading.
There are so many things to say. Jerry, if you can still hear me, maybe I'll come to see you again. Maybe I'll come to you in your dreams. Or be the touch of a breeze or one of those golden-winged little birds singing my silly head off. Maybe I'll be nothing you can see or hear, but you'll know I'm there. Think of me like that, Jerry. Goodbye.
She sat motionless in the hush that followed. And then she looked at me.
Now?
Now. I pulled down the black lever, and the inner door of the lock slid open. She walked with her head up and the brown curls brushing her shoulders. I let her do it alone. She stepped into the lock and turned to face me, and I could see the pulse in her throat.
I'm ready.
I pulled the red lever, and there was a slight waver as the air gushed out. I thought I sensed a bump, as if something had bumped the outer door. And then there was nothing. The white hand of the closet temperature control was back at 0. A cold equation had been balanced, and I was alone in the ship.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street & Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Cold Equations, written by Tom Godwin and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Court Benson as Barton, Jay Meredith as Marilyn, Milo Bolton as Commander Delhart, Bob Hastings as Jerry Cross, Jack Arthur as Traffic Control Officer, and Walter Kinsella as the Woden Monitor. Your announcer, Bill Rippey. X-1 was directed by Ken McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week. In the days of the Windjammers, whalers sometimes went on cruises that lasted as long as 2 years, and so sometimes they had to resort to rough methods to gather a crew. But what of the future, when a cruise to a distant star may last for 15 years or more? We hear of such a voyage next week on X-1.
Down in the underwater city of Euclidia, the Gregory party finds life rather difficult. It wasn't any too pleasant to think that there was little hope of their rescue. But when they actually hear a radio broadcast with their own man, Johnson, in Los Angeles as the speaker, telling the world of their death, then things do look mighty bad. When the Euclideans started their artificial volcanic eruption and caused the rescue fleet to sail away from the position of the Magic Island, all hope of rescue was gone. Mrs. Gregory and Joan are resting in their comfortable quarters in the underwater city, while Jerry and Captain Bradford have started for the rocket ship laboratories. There the captain is to be allowed to study the construction and operation of these 1,000-mile-an-hour Euclidean planes. Jerry and the captain are standing near the doorway to the scientists' quarters, waiting for their guide.
I know it's all right to talk here. That girl submarine commander said it was. I guess she ought to know.
Okay if you say so, Jerry, but it seems funny to be talking so freely out in this big open room after being so careful in our own quarters.
Well, there's so many funny things in this crazy place that I'm kind of getting used to them.
I'm afraid we'll never really learn to take all this for granted.
No, I guess not. But look here, Captain Bradford. How did it happen that old G-47 said I could go into the laboratory with you?
That surprised me, too, son. Maybe he thought you'd be more likely to stay out of trouble there.
Yeah, well, I won't have much chance to do anything they don't like, with a room full of scientists watching me.
And don't try to do anything. You just keep your eyes open and learn all you can about this place. I'll be figuring how to get my instrument case aboard.
Oh, that small case that looks like a lady's overnight case?
Yep, that's just large enough to comfortably hold a pigeon.
And then one of these times you'll leave the instrument out of the case and have the pigeon in it, huh?
Right. But don't get impatient about it, Jerry. It may take weeks or months to get that chance.
Oh, yeah, I know. They'll search that instrument case pretty carefully the first time you take it on board.
Not only the first time, but a good many times. Our hope is that they'll finally get careless about looking at it. And I'll be able to smuggle a homing pigeon aboard a rocket ship for a test run.
And it'll have to be a long test run to get the pigeon near enough to Los Angeles so we'll have a chance to get home.
Yes, I'd like to be within a few hundred miles, or even better than that. And I think that can be arranged. G-47 is planning a series of night flights right over the principal cities of the United States.
But, gee, Tex, he'll get caught at that.
I'm afraid he won't get caught. Those rocket ships are noiseless, or practically so, and they'll run without lights. I think it'll be altogether too easy to sneak up on Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York, and cruise around over them while G-47 studies the cities and maps the important points in each.
Gee, that sounds like they were getting ready for a war.
They are, a very definite war. So this will be the most peaceful, noiseless war the world has ever known.
Well, what do you think they'll do?
Just a few magnetic bombs in the cities. All traffic, transportation, telephone, electricity, everything will stop. And that will make the country just as helpless as if it was desert.
And then the Euclideans land and take over the country, huh?
Looks like that's the idea, Jerry. And not only our country. While that's going on in the United States, the same thing will be happening over Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, and South America. If these Euclideans can do as they expect to do, and I think they can, 1 hour would be long enough for them to take over the control of the entire world.
Oh, boy. Wouldn't it be swell if we could stop them?
Yes, it would be, and we'll try it. But don't get too hopeful about the outcome.
Oh, I know it looks mighty hard, but we can do it. Mrs. Gregory's feeling pretty bad about things now, and, well, Joan's scared of these crazy Euclideans. But we'll do it some way.
I think so, too, son, but we've got a long way to go.
Quiet. Here comes one of the Euclideans.
Which one?
Well, I can't see yet. It's too dark back under that balcony.
Well, I suppose we'll be taken to the laboratory now.
Well, I hope so. Oh, boy. It's our friend, the girl submarine commander.
So it is.
That means we get a break.
I would not advise you to break anything.
How do you do, Commander?
Oh, I didn't mean to break anything. I meant that you'd give us a good break.
Your expressions mean little to me, Hall, and I am of the opinion they mean little at all times.
Oh, is that so?
Never mind, Jerry. Well, Commander, what are the orders?
You, Captain Bradford, and you, Hall, will accompany me to the transportation laboratory.
Oh, boy. And will we get a ride in a rocket ship?
I have been instructed to make a test flight with you two as passengers.
Well, we're ready.
We will go at once.
Oh, Jerry! Jerry!
Hey, there's Joan over there.
You will have no time to speak with her.
Wait a moment, Jerry. I am going with you.
You are not.
Sorry, Joan, but this is a business trip, and the Commander has orders for only Jerry and myself.
Hey, Commander, couldn't you let Joan come along with us?
Silence, Hall. You will return to your quarters, Cleostra.
But I...
Best to do as she says, Joan, and I think you should stay with your mother anyhow.
But Mother is resting. I am of no value to her, and I do so want to see the laboratories with you.
Cleostra, if you continue, I will order your arrest and confinement.
Golly whiskers, Joan. What's the matter with you?
There is nothing the matter with me.
Well, there must be. You ought to know these Euclideans well enough to know they mean business and not keep on arguing with the commander.
You are being unusually sensible, Hall.
Jerry's right, Joan. You can't help us any, and I'd feel more comfortable if you stayed with Pat.
Very well, Captain. I will return to Mother and remain in our quarters.
Cleostra is acting in a very peculiar manner.
Well, maybe she's afraid of something.
No, I guess she just worried about everything and thought she'd like to go with us.
Enough of this useless speculation as to what Cleostra might think. Come, we will enter the laboratories. As we enter, you will preserve silence unless directly addressed by one of the scientists.
We won't say anything.
I will open the panel.
Oh, boy. What a room.
Silence. You will follow me. The larger ships ranged along this side of the chamber are submarines. On that side are the rocket ships. One moment while I observe our surroundings. Yes, we are alone in this section. You may speak.
It's about time. I was going to bust if I couldn't say something pretty soon.
I don't blame you, Jerry. This is quite a sight.
There are 25 submarines and 50 rocket ships.
Oh, boy, 75 of these things. And they don't half fill this room. Whoever dug these caves sure had plenty of time.
These caves are natural, except for the improvements installed by the Euclideans.
Well, Jerry knows that. Commander?
Yes?
Mind if I ask some questions?
Proceed.
And when you get done, I'll ask some.
Silence, Hall. Proceed, Captain Bradford.
Well, we're familiar with the submarines, as you know.
As all Euclidia knows, only too well.
Yeah, we sure put one over on all of you when we swept that other sub.
Never mind that now, Jerry. We're here to learn all we can about this place.
G-47 has informed us that you will aid him in certain tests with the rocket ships.
So he said, but I thought he meant rocket planes, not submarines.
These rocket ships are both air and water vessels.
Huh? These little submarines fly?
Precisely.
But, Commander, there isn't anything about them that looks like a flying machine.
They are not airplanes in the ordinary sense of the word. They are rocket planes propelled by a continuous stream of compressed gas bombs until they reach the static zenith, at which time they derive their power from the natural electrical impulses in the rarefied atmosphere.
She's talking to you now, Captain. I can't understand any of it.
I'm not much better off, son, but perhaps the commander will explain.
The explanation will be made by one more proficient in the higher reaches of science. Cheops, the master builder of Euclidia, will explain the construction of the rocket plane.
Hey, how soon do we see Cheops?
You may have that honor now.
Well, how do you do?
You will not be needed further, Commander.
Very well. I will be in my quarters if you need me.
How soon do we see the rocket ships, Mr. Cheops?
The term Mr. is superfluous. I am referred to as Cheops, master builder of Euclidia.
Yeah, I know. Your grandfather built the pyramids or something.
Never mind that now, Jerry.
Sorry.
I should like to inspect the rocket planes as soon as possible.
We will inspect one at this time. G47 has ordered that you be given a complete explanation as to the mechanical principles involved.
Yes, the electrical principles also, if you don't mind. I can visualize the possibilities of the compressed gas in the form of rocket power, but the use of atmospheric electrical energy is something I'm not at all clear on.
That explanation must come from Thales. He will join us later and explain the electrical devices. It is my task to acquaint you with the physical features of this rocket ship. Before we enter, you will observe the fins set into the sides of the ship.
I was noticing those things. What good are they?
They are, to use your worldly description of them, simply wings.
Wings?
Those things are wings folded back into the body of this submarine?
Precisely.
And this machine actually flies?
This rocket ship will consistently maintain a speed of 1,000 miles per hour and has a cruising range, when fully fueled, of 10,000 miles.
10,000 miles? Golly whiskers. Enough to fly all over the United States and back here again.
Just what I was thinking, Jerry.
And possibly what the designer had in mind.
Yes, quite possibly. The ship works as a submarine with its wings folded and an airship with them extended.
Precisely.
Well, we're over 400 feet below the surface of the ocean. I'd think that thing would have to be made mighty heavy, or it wouldn't stand the water pressure long enough to get it under the surface.
Yes, I wondered about that too, Jerry.
You are quite observant, Hall. In fact, that matter of pressure is something we have not been able to overcome. And the weight of such a ship, even a ship made of the finest Euclidean metals, would prove too great for the best results in the air. Therefore, these ships are carried in floating pressure chambers to within 5 fathoms of the surface, and there released.
And then at the end of a flight, they are landed on the water and returned to the lock.
Precisely. We will now enter the rocket ship. If you don't mind, I will proceed, making the necessary explanations as we go.
Oh, boy. This is sure some rocket ship. Gee, the whole inside of the thing is full of gadgets.
Plenty of instruments, all right, Jerry, and everything's made of copper, isn't it?
The entire structure is tempered copper, amalgamated with aluminum. These various controls you see are used in navigation, the action closely paralleling that of a submarine.
You fly this thing just like you sail it on the water or under the water?
Precisely, and at a speed of 1,000 miles an hour. The displacement approaches that of a boat of similar weight in water.
How soon am I allowed to take a trip in one of these things?
Your first flight is scheduled to begin with the appearance of Thales. We will accompany you.
Gee, Tex, 10,000 miles we can go. Let's fly over Los Angeles.
I'm afraid that wouldn't be allowed, Jerry.
You are quite sure it would not be allowed, Captain Bradford. The ship has a cruising range of 10,000 miles, but you will find that it is fueled for a 500-mile run and no more. If you attempt to escape, you would leave us only one course. The escaping ship would be overtaken and destroyed. and it seems hardly likely that you would have time to leave the ship.
You sure must want us here.
At least we do not want you elsewhere.
Captain Bradford and Jerry Hall are about to begin the test flight, which they hope will lay the foundation for their ultimate escape. Then, following the escape, Captain Bradford's formula will be used to gain possession of the Magic Island and force the Euclideans to give up their mad scheme of world terrorism. Down in the strange underwater city of Euclidia, 400 feet below the surface of the ocean, Jerry and the captain are standing in the immense rocket ship chamber, examining one of the 1,000-mile-an-hour planes, which is also a submarine. Cheops, the master builder of Euclidia, explains something of the weird plane's action as they wait for Thales, the Euclidean electrical expert. Thales will accompany them on their first ride in the rocket ship.
I sure wish that fellow Thales would hurry up and get here. I'd like to take a ride in this thing.
Are you going along, Cheops?
Naturally. As the master builder of Euclidia, my place is with this rocket plane while it is being tested. Thales is responsible for the electrical impulses used. G47 for the mechanics of the whole. And mine is the responsibility for the construction of the plane.
Well, the captain's going to try and find out what's wrong with these things.
Well, not exactly that, Jerry. G47 merely asked me to make some test runs in these ships and see if I could discover any weakness in them.
All of which is most ridiculous. If the Euclideans can find no flaw in their work, how can you, a mere engineer in your world, hope to discover what we of Euclidia's great scientific fountainhead have overlooked?
Oh, you think Tex isn't as smart as you are, huh?
Steady, Jerry.
Have no fear, Captain. Nothing this prattling young fool could say would make me angry. It merely annoys me.
Okay, I'll keep still.
Might be just as well.
All right, I won't say anything more about it. But I can go right on thinking the captain's smarter than you are.
You will confine yourself to thinking at once. Is the rocket plane prepared?
How do you do, Thales?
The plane is prepared for 500 miles. 1/2 hour of flying.
So, G47 puts little trust in our dear captain?
Obviously. The orders are to remain within 100 miles of Euclidia, conducting our experiments while circling at altitudes not to exceed 50,000 feet.
Excellent. That will make it rather difficult for you to attempt any trickery, Captain.
Decidedly so. We're not to exceed 50,000 feet in altitude.
Correct.
But we could exceed that. These planes will fly at altitudes greater than 50,000 feet.
Naturally. These rocket planes cannot attain their maximum speed until they reach the rarefied atmosphere above 50,000 feet.
Golly whiskers.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing.
That is probably true.
Well, gentlemen, if you've amused yourselves sufficiently at our expense, I suggest we get along with this cruise.
Agreed. Thales, will you enter your compartment?
I will. Bradford and Hall will sit behind me in the gas chamber. You, Cheops, will occupy the stern section.
I want to see everything that goes on. Can I watch it all from here?
Easily.
Though these interiors give the impression of considerable size, most of that is used for fuel storage and instruments.
Well, I'd say there was a big weakness there. You can't carry much of a payload in one of these things.
That is indeed worthy of consideration. But perhaps you forget the cruising radius?
Yeah. You don't have to carry very much when you can travel 1,000 miles an hour for 10,000 miles.
That's true enough, son. Well, are we all set?
I am ready.
Ready here.
You may all relax in your compartments. There is no appreciable sensation involved.
What's going on now?
We are now moving down an incline into the lock.
Must be plenty of pressure on that lock at this depth.
As we enter the lock, it will be closed about us and raised to within 5 fathoms of the surface. At that point, the pressures within the lock and without will be equalized, and our rocket plane will slip out into the water.
The rocket plane acts as well as a submarine as it does as an airship?
Yes, though at moderate speeds.
Something slow, like 50 or 75 miles an hour underwater, huh?
Precisely.
That's plenty fast for us.
The lock is now being filled with water. In a few seconds, we will be on our way to the surface.
Is it all right if I ask a question?
Anything within reason will be answered.
Well, this is a mighty good question, I think. How does this lock get up to the surface with us?
You just beat me to it, Jerry. I was going to ask that.
The process is quite obvious. The lock is now full. The walls of this lock are air chambers. These will carry us to the desired depth
But how does it work after we get up there?
I will open this visibility slide. You may then see the operator in the lock.
Gee, look, Tex. There's a fellow in the corner of the lock with a lot of instruments and gadgets around him. Yep, we're going up.
I suppose it's all very simple to you, but I don't understand half I see around here. How does the lock get back down here again after we leave it?
That is very simple, Captain Bradford. The air chambers are flooded, and the lock sinks slowly.
How do you control the return to the landing ramp we've just left?
The giant Euclidean magnets will pull the lock back into position, and these locks may be used at any of the ramps, as their only contact with the ramp is electrical.
Boy, this is sure something, isn't it, Tex?
It sure is, Jerry. What would the folks back home think of this one?
We will now leave the lock. In a few seconds, we will proceed under our own power.
Well, let's not waste much time using this thing as a submarine. I want to see how it works as an airship.
I'm a little impatient for that myself, kid.
We are now free of the lock.
Gee, can we go up to the surface now?
One moment. It is necessary to observe the surface of the water for a considerable distance.
Might be a good idea to make sure no one is watching us at that.
I am now using the prism reflectors. The surface is clear of all shipping within a radius of 100 miles.
You can see 100 miles in all directions with that thing?
Naturally not.
Then how does it work?
On the principle of the electric eye, this instrument transmits a constant beam in all directions. It has an effective range of 100 miles. If the beam is not interrupted, there is no magnetic or metallic body within that range.
Hey, but how about Euclidia? We're not more than a few hundred feet from that place, and it's got magnets all over it.
This beam is refracted along the surface of the water only. We would receive no impulses from a depth of more than 3 fathoms.
How about a submarine?
The speed of submarines from your world is so ridiculously low, and their clumsy shape so easily identified, that the main control room on Euclidia would have notified us when such a vessel was within 200 miles.
Are you prepared to rise to the surface?
I am prepared.
Proceed.
Gee, now what's happened?
We are now lying on the surface of the water.
Did you close that visibility slide? I can't see a thing.
Did you think we would burst out of the water for a chance observer to see?
I thought you said we were safe.
Nothing is left to chance on Euclidia.
Well, I still can't figure it out. What has the fact that I can't see anything got to do with our safety?
We are surrounded by a ring of magnetic fog.
This plane has created its own fog ring? Instantly?
Precisely.
I'll say it was precisely.
Are you ready for the air fins?
Ready.
Are the wings going out now?
They are. You will be able to see them once we are in the air, and there is no further need of the fog ring.
The fins are in place.
Very well. I will dissolve the fog ring.
Gee, Tex, look, the fog's gone.
Yes, Jerry. It didn't take long.
We are ready for a test flight. I will make such explanations as may be required. Dailies, you will navigate.
Right. We rise.
Oh, boy! We're flying.
What's our speed, Cheops?
We are flying at the rate of 500 miles an hour and gaining altitude at the rate of 4,000 feet per minute.
4,000 feet of climb a minute, and we can't even feel it.
Well, these chairs of ours are on universal joints, just like they were in the regular submarines.
Precisely. Now, if you will watch this instrument panel before me, you will note our progress as I increase our speed to 800 miles an hour and our rate of climb to 10,000 feet per minute.
10,000 feet a minute?
Observe the instruments.
But, hey, 10,000 feet a minute. That's pretty near straight up.
It might be, Jerry, if our forward speed wasn't so terrific.
Precisely. We progress forward 702,000 feet while climbing only 10,000 feet in 60 seconds. Therefore, our actual rate of climb is something less than 15 degrees.
Yes, it all sounds very simple when you figure it like that. But what I can't understand is how this compressed gas you use for fuel will drive this huge metal contrivance upward at 15 degrees and forward at 800 miles an hour. And do it all noiselessly.
The gas is very simple. You are quite aware that hydrogen is inflammable, and therefore, under proper conditions, also explosive.
Sure, we know that.
We merely admit the air through tubes in the nose of the plane. This is properly mixed with a free agent, which I must decline to reveal to you. And as the gas is released through tubes in the stern, it mixes with natural hydrogen in the air, causing a series of explosions.
But golly, we can't hear these explosions.
Well, I'm not enough of a lightning calculator to have it all figured out in my head. But it seems to me that we must be traveling at approximately the speed of sound.
You mean we're going as fast as sound travels?
The captain is correct. Our speed is almost identical with the speed of sound at this temperature and this altitude. However, even if we could remain stationary during the discharge of the gas, you would not be conscious of it, as the explosions are continuous and do not disturb the air within this plane.
Boy, this is sure some airship.
More than that, Jerry. We're taking a trip we can remember for a long time.
Silence.
What's the matter?
Silence. There is a disturbance on the radiograph.
I will establish communications with you, Claudia. Straighter plane, X1, reporting. Straighter plane, X1, to Euclidia. There is a disturbance on our radiograph. Instructions. Waiting for instructions.
What's this liable to mean?
It might mean a number of things, though in all probability, our course has been crossed by another Euclidean craft.
The beam to Euclidia is clear?
Precisely. That course signal is steady, but this instrument continues to register disturbance. That can mean but one thing. There is another flying machine of some type on our course, and at greater altitude. We will remain at this course, come what may.
Now step into the incredible, amazing future as we go exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
For many years, a lot of us have been interested in considering the possibilities of meeting other life forms, other intelligent beings from other stars. Now, if there is life out there, some form of life, and remember, it may be beyond our most far-fetched imaginations. If there is life, and we have our own Earth ships going out in constant, regular deep space exploration, someday, somewhere, maybe even out in the gas cloud of the Crab Nebula. Sometime we will meet.
Step it up. Step it up, the scanner. Maximum. Maximum magnification. Maximum mag. More. Sorry, sir. Max is max. You see? Can you see? Now, visibly. Quarter it.
Quarter it, sir.
Step up the scanner. Step it up. Don't you understand? I've got to see. Nothing. According to the reading, Captain, nothing, sir. Sir, Captain, hold it. On the bow quarter. Huh? Solid object. 80,000 miles, sir. 1 o'clock. Unknown object changing. 12 o'clock. Sound collision. Make ready, Mr. Dortch.
Now hear this. The captain will now address the ship. First, you've heard the collision alarm. You will all now take action stations. Man all weapons. Condition of extreme alert. Red. I repeat, red in all departments. Instrumentation tells us there is an unknown solid object less than 80,000 miles dead as we go. there was a locator beam on us. I repeat, there was an unknown locator on us, giving us unexpected feedback echo. Men, we are not a warship. May the Almighty be with us. That is all.
Mister? Nothing, sir. Now I see nothing on the busy place. But radio locator. Here, look at it, sir. Up and down, up and down. Something monstrous. Monster in size, sir, making lunatic dashes toward us. At collision speed. Then skipping away at the same fantastic speed. We are not a warship. Here it comes. There it goes away again. All on radio locate. On busy plate by eye, nothing. Can't detect a thing.
How many solar systems in our galaxy? How many? How many planets fit for life? And how many kinds of life could there be? If this ship isn't from Earth, and it isn't, it has a crew that isn't human. And things that aren't human but are up to the level of deep space travel in their civilization could mean anything.
Yes, sir.
Something like this has been talked about and speculated about for years. Mathematically, it's been an odds-on bet that somewhere in our galaxy there'd be another race with a civilization equal to or further advanced than ours. Nobody could ever guess where or when we'd meet them. It looks like we've done it now.
Well, do you suppose they'll be friendly, Captain?
Thank the Almighty for the blasters.
Here they come in for us fast again, sir. Oh,
pulling away again. Yes, I can read the beam.
If you'll pardon, sir, the blasters are for meteorites, sir. They were never, were they, designed as space weapons?
They can serve as pretty good ones. Because we don't know what they're like, you fool! And we can't take a chance. We can't trust them the fraction of an inch. Sure, I know. Let's try and find out all we can about them. Let's meet. Let's try to be friends with that ship out there. Well, we don't. And you realize why? Because they have locators. Because they might trace us all the way back home without our knowing it. And we can't risk a non-human race knowing where Earth is unless we're sure of them. And how can we be sure? Do you know, Mr. Dort? Do you know, Mr. Dort, with your sentimental Pollyanna slush pile that calls itself your brain, your mind?
Unidentified object retreating against our locator, sir.
Back and forth. Back and forth, the game goes on. They're afraid. We're afraid. Oh, sure. They could come to trade, of course. Import, export. That wouldn't hurt. Or maybe these creatures will be aesthetic marvels, nice and friendly and polite, and underneath the Tojo type. Or am I going to risk the possible future of the human race on a guess that it's safe to trust them? The one thing I won't risk is having them know how to find Earth. Either I know they can't follow me or I don't go home. And they probably feel the same way. Ready to ship for supplemental command.
There, sir. By sight, on the busy plate.
I see it. For the first time by eye. It's a small...
No, sir. It's bigger and bigger.
Bulb. Bulbous shape, like a pear.
Headed for us at extremely high acceleration, sir.
Hard about.
Hard about, sir.
Put us about. Put us about. He's crossing the T. Dort, pass me a relay. Put a relay key to the blasters. Direct to the blasters under my hand.
This is the captain. Ready, blasters. Collision course with unidentified space object. Maximum power. Ready, blasters, section 1. This is it, men.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
All of us, as American citizens, believe in our inherent liberties and freedoms, such as the freedom of the individual to choose and elect his own national representatives. It has been said that there is only one ruling class in America, the people themselves, who, through their vote, have established the law of our land. The real importance of this freedom depends on our accepting the responsibility not only to know what we are voting for or against, but also to choose our leaders for the best interests of the nation. So, accept your responsibility and ensure your freedom.
2 spaceships, 2 scientific expeditions, each uncountable miles from their own home. One from Earth, one from where?
The other ship stopped, Captain. Cut power. Quite stationary, sir.
Captain to crew. Steady as you are. Unidentified space object, now stationary. Do not fire. I repeat, fire only on command. This is a trick. You will fire only on command from myself and only when verified. As you are.
Stop dead, sir. They are. Dead for sure. Have a look.
How far do you make them?
Range 20 miles, Captain. Now they're sending modulated shortwave at us, sir.
Frequency modulated?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I see your needle. Apparently a signal. Not enough power to do any harm.
Look up in the left bow busy plate, sir. There's something now.
Yes, I see movement on the outside of their hull. Their cold black hull. We shine like a mirror. Did you ever hear of a jet black spaceship, mister?
We want to reflect the sun. Perhaps they...
Honor a need to absorb heat from a passing sun. Yeah, I know. Now, what's that thing?
Small, round, whatever it is, it's coming out of the side of the ship.
Watch.
Huh?
You're dripping sweat on your instruments.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, I realize what they're up to. If they sent anything toward us, it might seem a projectile or a bomb. So they come close, let out a lifeboat, and go away again. Figure we can send a boat or a man to make contact without risking our whole ship, too.
Captain, that means they think...
Pretty much as we do. Yes, I'm glad that finally occurred to you. Mr. Dort, by law of Space Command, I'm not allowed to leave my ship except to jettison. Mr. Dort, this is not an order.
No, sir.
And would you care to go out and look the thing over, whatever it is?
The alien ship continued to retreat. 40, 80, 400 miles. It came to a stop and hung out there, waiting. Earthman Tommy Dort, climbing into his atomic-driven spacesuit inside the airlock, heard this mileage report and felt safer, but just a little bit safer. For if the unknown black space intruder had stopped its retreat at 400 miles, he reasoned it might not have weapons effective at a greater distance. But Tommy felt lonely and a little expendable, speeding toward that tiny black dot which hung in the incredible brightness of the star gas. 4,000 light years from his wife and family and home. Speeding toward that tiny black spot, the only solid object he could see in all this glowing space. And then he landed. It was a slightly distorted sphere, not much over 6 feet in diameter. There were small tentacles or horns projecting from this black space orange. They looked rather like the detonating horns of an old-era submarine mine, but there was a glint of crystal at the tip of each. Then through his suit he began to feel vibrations. A section of the rounded hull beneath his feet opened up. He moved sideways fast. It opened up and out, and when he looked inside into the now open insides of the little sphere, no, he didn't see the first non-human civilized beings he expected. What he saw was simply a flat plate, and on that flat plate a dim red glow of light came and went. Even inside the protection of his spaceship, Tom Dort felt the hairs in his neck rise and bristle. In momentary terror, he pressed his sleeve button to switch communicator.
Very good, Mr. Dort. Don't panic. No need to panic. Fix your scanner to look into that plate. Harry, these creatures are our equal.
But, sir...
They dumped out a robot with an infrared visiplate for communication, is all. Not risking interpersonnel. Good SOP for them. Whatever we might do would only damage machinery. That's good. That means they value life as you value yours. Maybe, though, they expect us to pull you with a sphere in on board. They may have a bomb charge that can be detonated when they're ready to blow for their own home. I'll send a visiplate out with a man to face one of its scanners. You return to the ship. Well done, Dort.
Yes, sir. But which way is the ship?
Head straight away from the Double Star. We'll pick you up, Dort.
A tiny black bulbous robot floated in space between two spaceships. Ours and theirs. Represented a culture, theirs, which was at least up to ours. Now our two races could be friends. We could also be deadly enemies. We were a monstrous menace to them, and they to us. And the only safe thing to do with a menace is, of course, to destroy it.
This truce, Weeks and weeks. It's starting to get the crew. Mr. Dort.
I'm busy. Still calculating, Captain.
Let's see, where was I? I'm thinking. How do we establish friendship without risk of treachery? Friendship is based upon confidence. Or is it? Can confidence be established on a foundation of necessarily complete distrust?
If you can be patient a bit longer, sir, I think I've figured out a way we can talk their language. I mean communicate. Since they seem to be stone deaf.
You can.
I think, sir.
You can?
I believe now, sir, we can say almost anything we wish to them and understand what they say back. But, of course, sir, you'll never be able to know how much of what they say is the truth.
Well, neither will they about us. Go on, mister.
Well, I've managed to hook up what amounts to a mechanical translator. We showed them our recorder in the vision plates, and they showed us theirs. They record the FM direct, I think. Now, they don't use sound at all, even in speech. My guess is, sir, that they use microwaves for what you might call person-to-person conversation. I think they make short-wave trains as we make sounds.
Telepathy?
Yes, sir.
I think, sir. I'm ready if you are.
If you are, that is, prepared to talk with their skipper.
Turn on your mechanical translator. What shall I say to them, Dort? What shall I say?
They're waiting. They keep sending something like a CQ. They're oxygen breathers, sir, and they appear not too dissimilar in certain ways. I'm sure I detected signs of irony.
Irony?
I mean, sir, that implies humor. In other words, sir, I think they could be likable.
All right. Send this.
Hi, sir. They're acting suspicious.
All right. Say, the appropriate things about this first contact of two dissimilar but civilized races, and that my hope that a friendly intercourse between the two peoples will result.
Excuse, sir. What appropriate things? Oh, just a second, sir. The skipper sends you the following, quote, "That is all very well, but is there any way for us to let each other go home alive? I would be happy to hear of such a way if you can contrive one. At the moment, it seems to me that one of us must be killed." Unquote.
All right, then. Send this. Look here out there, whoever you are. It looks like we have to fight, and one batch of us gets killed. All right, we're ready if we have to. But if you win, we've got it fixed so you'll never find out where Earth is. And there's a good chance we'll get you anyhow. We've stayed here a month, and we've swapped information, and we don't hate each other. There's no reason for us to fight, except to protect our races.
Well, he says, sir, yes, all you say is true, but that his race has to be protected just as you feel that yours must be. He says, quote, "Perhaps this will help us to think clearly. Suppose we make it so we can't find each other's home planet, but leave a way to communicate in the future. So work out grounds for a common trust. If our governments want to be fools, let them. But we should give them the chance to make friends, instead of starting a space war out of mutual panic," unquote.
All right, I have it. Send this. Okay, sir. Whoever you are, let's swap spaceships. Send it, send it.
He answers, "Interesting. What is rest of your swapping proposal?"
Send this. Swap ships and crews. I remove all star charts and anything else evidential. He removes all his navigational records. We train each other's key crewmen, and I go for home with my crew and his ship. He goes for home with his crew and his ship. That's my proposal. Tell him that's final. If he refuses, I'll blast.
Hold on, please, sir. He says, accepted. He says, accepted. With one proviso that we arrange to meet here, at this star pit, in exactly one astronome of the double star.
Agreed. To us, that'll be a year. Send it.
Now hear this. On signal, prepare to abandon ship. We sail for home as soon as we have learned to man controls of unidentified space object. And good Godspeed to us all. We will all see Earth again as soon as we are trained and we train them.
There's a hidden assumption in the story we just heard that any intelligent entity can and may lie. I wonder just what a lie is and why it is that we expect intelligent entities to lie. Could a machine lie? Could an intelligent machine lie? Well, next time we have a discussion on that that I think you'll find interesting. It's called Liar.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Lon Clark and Lawson Zerbe. Script was by Murray Leinster, adapted by Peter Erding. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Bill Maher speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky!
It's a bird! It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, every day the city, state, and national offices of civilian defense organizations are swamped with letters from young people like yourselves. And most of these letters ask, what can I do? What part can I take in the national war effort? The writers of these letters are all too young to join the United States Armed Forces, too young to join any of the numerous home defense troops. And yet they ask, isn't there something we can do? Now, some of you listening now are no doubt among those who have written these letters. And I'll bet many of you who have not written have thought the same thing. Well, the answer is a very simple one. You can do your part in civilian defense. You can help win this war by buying war-saving stamps regularly. How does that help, you ask? How can my dime or 20 or 40 or 50 cents help to win this war? That's easy, too. For instance, your dime, just 10 cents, will buy 5 .45 caliber bullets that can be used by our soldiers, sailors, or Marines to knock 5 Japs or 5 Nazis out of commission. And believe me, it's going to take a lot of those bullets to knock them all out and win the war. Another thing, 50 cents, which represents 5 10 or 2 25-cent war-saving stamps, will buy enough fuel oil to bring one of our destroyers a full mile closer to the Jap fleet in the Solomon Islands. And you know what happens when our Navy gets close enough to turn on the heat. And here's one more thing for you to think over. If every fellow and girl in the United States bought at least 5 10-cent war-saving stamps every day, the amount of money they would lend to the government would buy enough fighter planes and bombers to blast Hitler's Luftwaffe right out of the air. So remember that each and every dime is important. That buying war-saving stamps is a very important way to help win this war. So why not pledge today to buy war-saving stamps regularly? And keep in mind this slogan. Every time you've got a dime, buy a war-saving stamp.
And now, the adventures of Superman. With the two leaders of the dread Black Narcissus cult behind bars, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and young Jimmy Olsen have left the city of Mecca. In a private plane operated by an Arabian pilot, they are on their way to the Belgian Congo, there to search for Prince Saba, long-lost son and heir to the title and riches of the late departed Sheikh Mohammed. Before boarding the plane at Mecca, a man at the hotel gave Jimmy a cardboard box with instructions to open it on the plane and present the contents to Lois. Innocently, Jimmy obeyed the instructions. The box contained a black narcissus flower with poisoned thorns on the stem, and as Jimmy offered it to Lois, one of the sharp thorns pierced the skin of his index finger. Instantly, Kent snatched the flower from Jimmy's hand, but too late. Already a tiny pink spot marked the place where the deadly poison thorn had done its work. Listen.
Oh, what's the big idea, Mr. Kent? That's a pretty flower.
Jimmy, it's poison.
Poison?
Yes, the thorns are poison. One of them stuck you, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't
Let me
hurt.
see that finger. That pink spot, isn't it?
I guess so.
Clark, what are we going to do? Hadn't we better turn back?
Turn back? What for?
There's nothing you can shrug off, Jimmy. You heard us mention the Black Narcissus cult. Oh, why did you take that flower out of the box?
Oh, gosh, I didn't know. I thought the man who gave it to me was the hotel manager, and he was sending a little gift to Miss Lane.
Clark, we're wasting precious moments. Tell the pilot to turn back. We've got to get Jimmy to a doctor.
How does the finger feel, Jim?
It feels all right. Are you sure those thorns are poison?
Positive. It's a method the cult uses to get rid of people. They sent one of those flowers to me last night.
Clark, if you won't tell the pilot to turn back, I will.
Now, don't lose your head, Lois. We're almost 200 miles out of Mecca. There isn't anything a doctor can do at this moment that we can't do.
We don't know what kind of poison it is, or whether there is an antidote or a serum to combat
Well,
it.
neither will a doctor. Sit down here, Jim.
Oh.
Sit down. That's it. Now, roll your sleeve up.
Oh, what are you going to do, Mr. Kent?
We're going to handle this as though it were a snake bite. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the poison they used came from a pit viper.
What's a pit viper?
A venomous snake found in Africa and Arabia.
Well, what's the penknife for, Mr. Kent?
Well, Lois should be able to tell you that. She took a Red Cross first aid course back in Metropolis.
Oh, Clark, you're not going to...
Yes, I am. All right, now here. Tie this piece of string above the first knuckle on his index finger. Now, just tight enough to stop the flow of blood.
That's called a tourniquet, isn't it?
Uh-huh. That's it. Now, if I can find some matches... Yeah, I've got some.
Clark, are you sure you're doing the right thing?
Positive. We'll just heat this knife blade as best we can under the circumstances. There we are. So, you don't mind a little pain, do you, Jimmy?
Who, me? Of course not.
Attaboy. That string all tied, Lois?
Yes.
Good. Now go up forward and ask the pilot whether he has a first aid kit on board. And if he has, get it. Oh, wait.
All right.
Before you go, light another match and give it to me, will you?
Here you are.
All right. Now get the first aid kit.
My finger's beginning to throb, Mr. Kent.
I know.
It aches a little. Just the tip of it.
That's because the blood supply is cut off. All right. We'll have that string off in a few minutes.
Here's the first aid kit. It's never been used.
Good. Open it, will you? What's in it, Lois?
Iodine, alcohol, the bandage, adhesive tape, some cotton.
All right, that's plenty. Now, light one more match, will you? They're on Jimmy's lap.
Oh,
here you are.
why are you heating the knife blade, Mr. Kent?
To sterilize it, Jim. I'm going to make an incision or a cut in your finger, Jim, in order to draw the poison blood out. It may hurt a little, but you just grit your teeth.
Don't worry about me. I can take it.
Here, let me hold your other hand, Jimmy.
I'll be all right, Miss Lane. Honest, I will.
Maybe you better not watch this, Lois.
Oh, well, if you can stand it, I can, Mr. Kent.
All right, we're ready. Now, I'll make a cross cut right over the spot where the thorn pierced your finger, Jim. And as soon as the cuts are made, put your finger in your mouth and suck the poison blood out. Have you got a handkerchief?
Yes, in my pocket.
Don't move, Jimmy. I'll get it. Here you are.
Now, hold the handkerchief in your left hand. That's it. You all set?
Go ahead.
Okay. One cut. Hurt a little, huh?
Yeah, a little.
I'm sorry, Jim, but I've got to make just one more. There, all right. Into your mouth with it now. That's it. Suck hard. Open the alcohol, Lois. And the iodine, too. Let's have them both ready. That's it. Keep drawing that poison blood out, Jim. Get rid of it in your handkerchief. That's the boy.
Anything else, Clark?
Yes, cut off a piece of bandage. Not too long. Where's that adhesive tape?
Here it is.
All right, let's have a small strip. Are you coming, Jim? Keep drawing that poison off.
Clark, I hope you're doing the right thing.
That's the same thing any doctor would do. That's why you were taught these things in first aid, to take care of emergencies like this. Is there a blanket around?
Yes, I think there is. Up on this rack.
Oh, good. We'll wrap him up and keep him good and warm once we get the bandage on. All right, let's have a look at that finger, Jim.
Look all right, Clark?
I guess he's drawn off about all the poison he can. How does it feel?
It hurts a little. Kind of throbs like.
The alcohol, Lois, and a little cotton. That's fine. Now, we'll just clean it out. That doesn't hurt, does it, Jimmy?
No, it just stings.
You want the iodine, Clark?
Yes, please, and a clean piece of cotton. Thank you. Now, this may burn, Jim, but it'll be all over in a second.
There we are. Oh, boy. Did you say it may burn? Phew. I feel like I stuck my hand in a furnace.
Well, we can take the tourniquet off now. Hold still, Jimmy. There, that's better.
Gosh, tip of my finger turned blue.
That's because the tight string cut the blood supply off. Now, let's bandage it up, and you'll be all set. Spread your fingers out, will you, Jim? That's the boy. Now, we'll just put this over here. Now, the adhesive, Lois.
Here you are.
Thank you. So, there we are, all done. Now, young fellow, we'll cover you with this blanket, and you try to get some sleep. Chances are you'll be tip-top by the time you awaken.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kent, for everything.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Jim. Lois and I'll move up forward so our talking won't disturb you. Good night.
Good night, Jimmy.
Good night, Miss Lane. Good night, Mr. Kent.
Night. I guess this seat's as good as any. Actually, you know, it's funny. When I hired this plane, I told the man we had no use for a 10-passenger transport, but as it turned out, the extra space comes in handy. Look, maybe you'd like to get some sleep, Lois.
No, I'm not tired. I was just thinking.
About what?
You?
Thinking about me? How come?
Oh, I was just thinking what a strange mixture of persons you are. Sometimes you're shy and timid, and other times a brick wall couldn't stop you.
A brick wall? What do you mean?
I mean that once you make up your mind that something has to be done, you do it. And yet I've seen you behave like, well, to put it bluntly, like a coward. Somehow I always have a strange feeling that you're not a coward, though, really. It's almost as though you were leading a double life. What's the matter?
Something caught my throat.
Why don't you get some water?
Oh, I'll be all right.
Well, as I was saying...
Oh, wait, Lois, look out the window. We're crossing the Red Sea.
Oh?
Isn't it beautiful in the moonlight?
Is that the Red Sea?
Uh-huh.
How high are we flying?
Oh, I should say about 10,000 feet. Once we cross the Red Sea, we'll be in Egypt. By morning, we'll have reached the Upper Nile.
What's our first stop?
Khartoum, in Egypt.
I think the minute we land, we should take Jimmy to a doctor if there is one.
Oh, there are plenty of them. I happen to know there's a good hospital at Khartoum.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, then you are tired. Why don't you try and sleep?
Maybe I will.
I'll sit across the aisle and catch 40 winks myself. There we are. Good night.
Good night.
With its twin motors purring in an even, steady rhythm, the gray transport plane slips through the cloudless night sky like some giant bird, leaving the rolling deserts of Arabia behind it and pointing its blunt nose toward Egypt. Hour after hour, it flies the uncharted highway of the heavens until finally dawn breaks over the green valley of the Nile. Looking out the window, Clark Kent follows the course of the muddy, winding stream when suddenly he sits bolt upright as he hears Jimmy's voice over the drone of the motors.
Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent.
Coming, Jimmy. What is it, Jim boy?
I don't feel so good, Mr. Kent.
No?
I feel warm and dizzy.
Oh, here, let me feel your forehead. Mm-hmm.
My right arm hurts, too. Kind of a drawing pain.
Have you been sleeping?
Except for the last few hours. I didn't want to call you because I figured you were asleep.
Oh, that's silly. You should have called me.
Why do I feel so warm, Mr. Kent? And why does my arm hurt?
Well, those cuts on your finger might be bothering you. I'll call Lois. Lois? Lois?
Yes?
Lois, come here a minute, will you? No, Jim, don't take that blanket off.
What is it, Clark?
Why, Jimmy seems to be a little feverish.
Good heavens.
Go up front and ask the pilot how soon we land at Khartoum, will you? We're over the Nile now.
Is it the poison, do you think, Clark?
I don't know. Hurry, will you?
Oh, I will.
Gosh, I feel awful causing you and Miss Lane all this trouble.
Oh, no.
Maybe you should have sent me back home.
Nonsense. You'd do the same for me, wouldn't you?
I guess so. If only I didn't feel so dizzy and...
We land at Khartoum in 20 minutes. Is he bad?
No, he'll be all right, won't you, Jim?
Sure.
Let me see. Oh, Clark, he's burning up.
Nonsense. It's just a little fever.
Touch his forehead.
I did.
Why didn't I make you turn back to Mecca? Oh, why?
Lois, please, if anything has to be done, he's better off in Khartoum.
Look at all the time we've wasted. Hours and hours.
I'll be all right, Miss Lane.
Sure you will.
Honest, I will.
Oh, Jimmy.
Don't worry. Please.
Jimmy.
Clark, he's fainted. What are we going to do now?
Yes, what is going to happen to poor Jimmy? Has the poison on the black narcissus thorn gotten in its deadly work? Is this one time when even the unearthly powers of Superman are useless? Don't miss Monday's thrilling episode, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Well, there goes Superman until Monday. Meantime, don't let the weekend go by without buying your share of war-saving stamps. Remember what I told you at the beginning of the program, you fellows and girls who are too young to join the armed forces or any of the national defense organizations. You can do your part. You can help win this war by buying war-saving stamps regularly. So let's make a pledge right now to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Talk it over tonight with Mother and Dad. Ask them to give you a dime every day or even every other day for a war-saving stamp. And then buy some extra stamps out of your regular weekly allowance. And see if you can't get your friends to buy stamps regularly, too. Or why not organize a war-saving stamp club right in your neighborhood? And make this your club slogan. Every time you've got a dime, buy a war-saving stamp.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Follow The Adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. This is Mutual.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hand, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellas and girls, don't ever get the idea there's nothing you can do to help win this war. Just because you can't join the Army or Navy doesn't mean that you can't be part of this big fight to preserve the American way of life. No, sir, not at all. There is one big important thing you can do, and I'm going to tell you about that right now. You see, aside from the fact that we can't all be soldiers, sailors, or Marines, because we're too young or too old or something, it's necessary for a good many of us to stay right here where we are. As a matter of fact, Uncle Sam says that for every man in the armed forces, there must be 11 people back home to keep them well supplied and to see that everything runs smoothly. It's sort of like a civilian army that cooperates with the armed forces to help win the war. And that's where you come in, you and I. For we're all members of this civilian army. And the best way we can help our boys at the front is to buy war-saving stamps and bonds and buy them regularly. How does that help? Let me tell you. It helps our government to finance the war. It helps buy the guns and tanks and planes and all the other things the Army, Navy, or Marines need to knock out the Japs and the Nazis. For instance, every time you buy a 10-cent war-saving stamp, your dime will pay for 5 bullets. And every 5 10-cent stamps buys enough fuel oil to carry a destroyer a full mile. So you see how important it is for you to buy a war-saving stamp every time you've got a dime. Now, see if you can't get Mother or Dad to give you a dime every day or every other day with which to buy war-saving stamps. Talk about this with all your friends. Ask them to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Ask your mother and dad and all your neighbors and relatives to sign Minuteman pledges. Do all you can to build up the sale of war-saving stamps and bonds. And that's what you can do to help win this war.
And now, The Adventures of Superman. As you remember, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen are en route from Arabia to the Belgian Congo to find, if possible, the long-lost Prince Saba, sole heir to the title and riches of the Sheik of Mecca.
But the Sheik's brother, leader of the dread Black Narcissus cult, wishes to prevent Kent from making the trip since he will inherit the title and fabulous wealth of the Sheik if Prince Saba is not found within 6 months. In Mecca, Kent placed the brother behind bars and thought he was rid of him. But on boarding the plane, young Jimmy Olsen suddenly presented Lois Lane with a flower, a deadly black narcissus with poison thorns. Jimmy said a man at the Mecca Hotel had given it to him. Accidentally, Jimmy pricked his finger on one of the thorns, and despite emergency treatment, the poison seeped through his arm and brought on a dangerously high fever. At Khartoum, on the River Nile in Egypt, the plane landed, and Jimmy, now unconscious, was rushed to a hospital. As our story continues today, Kent and Lois are waiting in an anteroom of the hospital while Dr. Hammond, chief of the medical staff, completes his examination. Listen.
Clark, I'm worried. They've been in that examination room for over an hour.
Now you'll go to pieces, Lois, unless you get hold of yourself. Everything possible is being done for Jimmy. You heard what Dr. Hammond said. The entire resources of the hospital are at our disposal.
Oh, I know, but that doesn't help matters any. Did you see Jimmy's face when they wheeled him into the examination room?
I know.
Clark, it was grayish white. He didn't seem to be breathing.
You're making it sound much worse than it really is, Lois. Jimmy's a thin, wiry youngster, the kind with loads of resistance. He'll pull through. I know he will.
Here comes Dr. Hammond now.
Please, Lois, please, don't let go.
I'm awfully sorry to have kept you two waiting, but we ran into a little difficulty.
What? Difficulty? What do you mean, Doctor?
Easy, Lois.
We almost lost the boy on the examination table, Miss Lane.
Steady, Lois, steady.
For some strange reason, his pulse suddenly began to flutter. It was touch and go for a moment, but, well, we managed to pull him through with blood plasma.
Oh, then he's all right now.
Not quite. He's a pretty sick boy. Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing just what type of poison is filtering through his system. We're inclined to agree with you, Mr. Kent, that it's a snake venom. However, what he needs now is a blood transfusion immediately. We've plenty of plasma, but I'd prefer the real thing in this case.
Oh, please, will you take me for the transfusion?
No, Lois, I'll do it.
We'd prefer a male, Miss Lane, provided, of course, that Mr. Kent's blood is a matching type. If you'll come with me, Mr. Kent.
Yes, certainly. I'll be back shortly, Lois. Sit down and try to relax, will you?
This way, Mr. Kent. Just step inside, please.
Thank you.
Mr. Kent, I didn't want to appear too pessimistic in front of Miss Lane, but I'm afraid the situation is, desperate.
You mean you don't think...
Well, as you know, of course, we can never be quite certain of anything in connection with the human body, but I should say from all indications the odds are against the boys pulling through.
That's hard to take, Doctor. I've known Jimmy for a long time. We've been through a lot together. I'd miss him terribly.
I understand exactly how you feel, and believe me, Mr. Kent, everything possible will be done. We're a little handicapped because of the lack of anti-venom.
Anti-venom? What's that?
Well, it's a serum used to combat snake poison. We had quite a supply of it, but one of Mr. Hitler's planes flew over a few days ago and blew it sky high.
Would anti-venom help Jimmy?
Undoubtedly. But getting any is out of the question. The nearest source of supply is Cairo, almost 1,000 miles from here.
Well, that's not so far.
There isn't a plane in Cairo that would get here in less than 5 hours, Mr. Kent. And in a case like this, 5 hours is a lifetime.
But I think I can... that is, Dr. Hammond, if I can get you some anti-venom, do you think you can save Jimmy's life?
Well, I'm quite certain of it, Mr. Kent.
Well, then you'll have it, Doctor.
Well, Kent, where are you going? What about the blood transfusion?
You and Miss Lane or someone else. I have more important work to do. Who has this anti-venom serum in Cairo?
Well, there's plenty of it at the Cairo General Hospital, but you're being stupid, man. I told you Cairo's 1,000 miles away. This boy is dying. It may be a matter of minutes.
Don't worry, Doctor.
What? Oh, Kent, come back. Kent! Avoiding Lois by slipping out a rear door of the hospital, Clark Kent darts into an alley between two frame buildings.
Here we are. I guess this is private enough to make the change. 1,000 miles, eh? That's barely a hop.
For Superman. There we are. All set to go. Up, up, and away!
Like an arrow shot from a bow, Superman wings high above the city of Khartoum, until even his amazing eyes can only see the winding river of the Nile below. Gathering every ounce of his unearthly strength, he heads north toward Cairo, his colorful costume a blue and red streak through the cloudless heavens. Meanwhile, back at the hospital in Khartoum, Clark Kent's strange behavior has both Lois and Dr. Hammond puzzled.
You say he walked out of the room before you could do the transfusion, Doctor?
Yes, Miss Lane, I don't understand it at all.
Didn't he give you any explanation?
None whatever. I was telling him that if we had some anti-venom, we'd stand a better chance of pulling the youngster through.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the only supply is in Cairo, 1,000 miles from here.
Doctor, do you think perhaps he was afraid of going through the transfusion?
Afraid? Well, I hardly think so, Miss Lane. He seems like rather a sturdy young man, a little timid, but well set up physically.
I'll never forgive him for this. Walking out on poor Jimmy when the boy needs him most. But it's almost inhuman. Isn't there anything I can do, Doctor?
No, afraid not, Miss Lane. Your blood isn't the same type. We've given him more plasma, but that's just a temporary measure. I'm afraid there isn't a great deal of hope.
You mean that Jimmy is going to...
Yes. He's getting weaker by the moment, Miss Lane. I think you'll have to resign yourself to the fact that... Well, great heavens! There he is!
Who?
Kent, coming through the front door.
Sorry, I ran out on you, Dr. Hammond.
Doc, Kent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Any other human being in the world would give aid to an animal in danger of its life. But you desert a helpless boy on his deathbed.
You all through, Lois?
I'm not through. I'll have plenty to tell you before this is over. Plenty.
Good. Here's your antivenin, Dr. Hammond. 6 types.
What?
I said, here's the antivenin you wanted, the snake poison serum.
Clark, you mean...
Kent, where did you get this?
What difference does it make? You're wasting precious moments. You've got it. Now use it.
Well, yes, you're right. Of course, I am wasting time talking here, but well, excuse me.
Clark, I don't quite understand all this.
I'm sorry you thought I ran out on Jimmy, Lois.
What else could I think? I tried to tell myself it was unbelievable, but Dr. Hammond...
Yes, I know. He seemed surprised, too.
Clark, can't you tell me what happened? Where did you find the antivenin? Dr. Hammond said there wasn't any nearer than Cairo.
Well, Dr. Hammond was evidently wrong, don't you think?
Yes, of course. He couldn't have gone to Cairo and back again in those few minutes.
No, actually not. Even Superman isn't that fast.
Clark, I'm awfully sorry for what I said. Please accept my apology, won't you?
Sure. After all, the one thing we're both concerned with is Jimmy's recovery.
What's that alarm bell for?
Well, I don't know.
Air raid! Take to the shelter!
Air raid. A nice time for the Germans to be coming over.
What'll we do?
Everyone take to the shelter, please. Take to the shelter.
Oh, Clark. What was that?
There's a bomb bursting.
Clark, they're liable to hit the hospital. What about Jimmy?
Well, they're not supposed to bomb hospitals, but there's no telling what those Nazis will do. Uh-oh. You better follow the crowd down to the shelter, Lois.
What about you?
I'll go in and stand by Jimmy in case anything happens.
Well, can't I go with you?
No, I think you'll be better off in the shelter.
Everyone down to the shelter.
Go ahead, Lois, please. I'll meet you once the all clear is sounded.
Well, all right. And if Jimmy regains consciousness, give him my love.
I will, Lois. Now to get out that rear door again.
Hey, you there in the civilian clothes. Down to the shelter, please.
Not me, buddy. I've got a little job to do. Oh, there they are. Right up above us. 8 Nazi bombers. No, I'm certain they have no respect for the red crosses painted on the roof of this hospital. Oh, I thought not. That was too close to be an accident. All right, my indecent friends. We'll fix your little air raid. Off with these clothes. There we are. Now it's
Superman's turn. I can't go up after you just yet because one of you might hit the hospital while I was taking care of the other. Oh, another close one. No time to waste. Up on the roof for me. Up.
Leaping to the roof of the hospital, Superman takes a firm stance and is ready for anything that may happen. High above him, the deadly German bombers spread out to avoid the anti-aircraft fire that has just started. As though by magic, the narrow, winding streets of the city, a moment ago crowded with colorful Egyptians and uniformed soldiers, are suddenly empty. Alone in the sprawling vastness, Superman, red cape flung out behind him, looks up at the German bombers.
All right, boys, let them come. We're going to play baseball for a while, you and I. You toss them and I'll catch them. Only this is one ball game we're playing for higher stakes than money. We're playing for human lives. One error may cause a lot of trouble. But that doesn't worry me. All right, come on. Start dropping them, you Nazi murderers.
As though in answer to Superman's taunt, a huge 1,000-pound bomb detaches itself from the undercarriage of one of the planes and comes screaming down on the gabled roof of the tiny base hospital. Bracing himself, the man of steel waits for the bomb of steel to reach him. One slip, one miscalculation may mean instant, horrible death for everyone in the hospital. Hundreds of lives depend on Superman. Will he fail, Don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, same time, same station. There'll be a thrill a minute. Tune in and follow the adventures of Superman.
Did you ever stop to think why American machine gun crews make such good scores in their battles against the Japs and the Nazis? Their teamwork, their super marksmanship, comes from practice. Practice every day until they can hit the bullseye practically every time. But that much practice eats up a lot of bullets. And that's just where you come in. You buy bullets for machine gunners every time you buy war stamps. 5 bullets for every 10-cent stamp. So get behind your team by buying stamps just as often as you can. And can you think of anything more exciting to buy for your dime than 5 .45 caliber bullets? 5 bullets for American soldiers to use in protecting your home from the Japs or the Nazis. So get going. Get your stamps today and every day.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invite you to Rockin' into the Future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
Roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. On Rhea, one of the moons of Saturn, the whole universe's supply of a rare, new miracle medicine, Viricide F3, is threatened by a gang of space bandits. The Polaris unit, with Colonel Cowan of Solar Guard Intelligence, heads for Rhea to foil the gang. But the Polaris, its rockets damaged, goes adrift in space. So Tom Corbett and Colonel Cowan, leaving Roger Manning and the wounded Astro behind, set out in a jet boat. And thanks to Tom's skillful piloting, they arrive at the airless little world just before their fuel runs out.
Wonder where the switch is, Tom, for the entrance to the atmosphere dome.
Right here, Colonel.
Hey, hello there. I saw you blasting in, and I thought I'd come down to meet you. I'm Bailey, Ned Bailey, in charge of materials.
I'm Colonel Cowan, Solar Guard. And this is Cadet Corbett.
Oh, I'm glad to know you, but how is...
It's a long story, and just now we haven't much time. So will you take us to Mr. Adams right away?
Adams? Oh, I'm afraid not, Colonel.
Why not? Isn't he general manager here?
Sure he was, but he died suddenly the other day.
What?
Yep. So you'll probably want to talk to Ed Malvern as assistant manager. He took over.
But about Adams, when did he...
Well, Bailey, visitor.
Oh, here he is now. Hey, Ed, some fellas to see you, Solar Guard.
Welcome to Rhea, gentlemen. You, Colonel Cowan?
That's right. And Cadet Corbett.
Fine, fine. Earth General Headquarters audioed us that you'd be coming.
Did they tell you anything else, Mr. Malvern?
Oh, there was some crazy yarn about danger, but you know how those boys at the HQ go for a story like that.
But this time I'm afraid it's true. Are you prepared to defend Rhea, Mr. Malvern?
Defend? Oh, come now, Colonel. We're practical folks here, down-to-earth businessmen.
You may be out of business soon. Haven't you warned your men, gotten arms from Titan?
Hey, what's this all about, boss?
Oh, some space gag about a gang attacking us, Bailey, stealing the F3 supply, blasting the plants and the men. Don't worry about it.
Look, sir, there is such a gang. It wants to monopolize all the F3 viricide in the entire universe.
Son, that's quite a story, but a little far-fetched if you ask me. Now, believe me, my boy, if we got upset about every weird rumor like this, when would we get around to making the medicine?
One of the gang's gunmen took over our ship for a while. Or was that a rumor, too?
What? Hey, boss, maybe...
Yes, and he said he was to rendezvous with the rest of them somewhere near Rio.
Good heavens, if this is true, Collins...
I tell you, they may strike any time. We'll do what we can here, and let's also send a coded audio message to Solar Guard headquarters.
All right, you go with Bailey. Start organizing things. I double as a radio operator so I can get the coded message off.
You'd better send it, hadn't you, Colonel?
Why, no, let Malvern do it. I'm going to be pretty busy for a while. Come on, Bailey, let's get going. Come on, Tom.
Well, where are we going, sir?
The communications room. You're right, Tom. I should have sent that message to the Solar Guards myself.
Golly, what's made you change your mind so fast?
Malvern supposedly sent through a report on Adams' death. Adams died 2 weeks ago.
Yeah?
But 2 days ago, Earth office knew nothing about it. In fact, messages were still coming through signed with Adams' name.
Hey, that's strange.
More than strange. Particularly when Malvern's the communications officer.
But, sir, that might mean he's one of the gang himself. That he was somehow responsible for Adams' death.
It's a possibility. But before we make up our minds, let's see what kind of message he's sending. Here's the building.
Through this door, sir. I wonder which is the audio room.
Wait, Tom. I hear something. Over this way.
Malvern's voice, all right.
Can't make out a word, though. If we can get this door open, just a crack.
So that's the situation, Chief.
Chief? Quiet, Corbett. Let's listen.
I don't think they suspect a thing so far, but they may soon. Don't wait any longer, Chief. Attack at once.
You were right, Colonel. He's one of the gang.
Yes. Prepare to take him as soon as he breaks contact.
Okay. Move in, then. Yes, I'll be ready, Chief. End transmission.
No? I've got my parallel ray ready.
Right. Come on. All right, Malvern. Get away from that audio transmitter.
What? So, Colonel Cowan, I underestimated you. Unfortunately, you come late.
Oh, no, I haven't.
My friends are on their way, or didn't you hear?
We heard, and so did the Solar Guard. You sent out a straight voice message, Malvern, on an open frequency which the guards listen to all the time.
You must think I'm a fool, Colonel. I used low power. Not enough to reach any Solar Guard station.
Well, we've still got you.
Wrong again. Max?
Yeah, boss?
Great Jupiter.
Don't move, either of you guys.
Show him your heat ray, Max.
Okay, boss. Yeah. Take a look.
Which trumps your ace, Corbett. Drop that parallel pop gun of yours.
Colonel, I'm willing to take a chance.
Drop it, I said. Or Max blasts you to ashes.
Do as he says. Your gun's no match for his.
Okay.
Get the door of steel wire, Max. It's over in that corner.
Sure thing, boss.
I don't know what your plan is, Malvern, but Bailey's alerting the men now. Against attack, you'll never succeed.
Want to bet? In the first place, you two are being tied up with Durasteel wire. You got it, Max?
Got plenty. I'll truss them up good.
Well, somebody will release us. Some of your own men will realize what's going on.
Sure they will. All of them will. When our spaceship arrives and blows a hole in the atmosphere dome.
What? But that's mass murder. Everyone in the colony will die of suffocation.
No, not everyone, Colonel. Max and me. We'll be in spacesuits.
I can understand you're doing this to us, but your own men, your friends.
There's nothing personal about this, Colonel.
There certainly isn't.
Simply business, gentlemen. Simply business. We want to get all the viricide F3 there is. And we don't want any more produced for a long, long time. There's no better way to accomplish that than by wiping out all life on the face of Rhea. Every single creature on this satellite, gentlemen, must die.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett and the Space Cadets in just a moment. So stand by.
Spaceman, Dr. Joan Dale wants to talk to you. Here, I'll press the buzzer so you can go into her laboratory.
Come in, spaceman. I'm taking time out from this experiment to talk to you about your official space goggles. Uh-oh, speaking of space goggles, I better put my pair on. Ah, there, I've got them on now. And now I've got protection for my eyes against these flying sparks and the bright glow from the bubbling chemicals you hear. You know, these special goggles are official Space Academy equipment. They're made of one sweeping curved piece of colored plastic that fits comfortably over both eyes.
I know every spaceman will want to own a pair. Space goggles come in handy when you're looking into the sun, heading into a strong wind, or when you're like me and you're working in a laboratory. Now, spacemen, for important instructions on how to get a pair of space goggles, just step outside the door. Spaceman's luck.
Spaceman, send 25 cents. One box top from Kellogg's Pep and your name and address. To get an official pair of space goggles, send 25 cents. One box top from Kellogg's Pep and your name and address. Send this to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Now, spacemen, send for your pair of space goggles today. And tomorrow, start off your day with Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
General Manager Malvern of the F3 plant on Rhea has been revealed as a member of the space gang which aims to take over the universe's entire supply of the life-giving viricide. Capturing Cadet Corbett and Colonel Cowan of Solar Guard Intelligence, he tells them that the gang's rocket ship will soon blast a hole in the satellite's atmosphere shell, killing everyone in the colony by suffocation. And he orders his pal Max to tie the two captives up securely.
Max! Got him trussed up good and tight?
He has. Your pal knows he's dirty business.
Thanks, kid. All set, boss. Nobody's going to break those Durasteel wires.
And we'd better get our spacesuits, so we at least will survive the attack.
You rotten space crawlers.
No use struggling against those wires, Cadet. No use at all.
The Solar Guard's going to catch up with you someday.
Perhaps, but you'll hardly be celebrating the occasion. No hard feelings, I trust. This is simply business, you know.
Colonel Cowan, are you all right? You didn't say anything.
I wasn't anxious to keep them here.
I guess we've had it, sir. Max was right. We can't break these wires or even twist them.
We don't have to. Getting loose isn't our problem.
What?
Wriggle toward me so your fingers can reach the bottom of my trouser leg, along the seam.
Well, yes, sir. I can feel something.
It's a thin diamondite blade sewed there. Start working it out. It'll cut through anything, even Durasteel wire.
By the critters of Luna, what luck.
Not luck. Standard intelligence service procedure. It's often been useful before.
Well, I've got the blade out, sir.
Good. Here. Now start working on my wrists.
Okay, Colonel.
Okay, Corbett. Your hands are free. Now get the wire off your leg.
Right. What are you going to do, sir?
Get on this audio. Try to contact the gang, then pretend I'm Malvern and talk them out of attacking.
It might work.
Worth trying. If only I knew their code word or even some of their names. Well, we'll see. Emergency call! This is Malvern. Emergency call! Jupiter, aren't they even going to answer?
Hello, Malvern. This is the chief. Anything wrong?
Plenty, Chief. Go back. Call off the raid.
What? You're off your gyro.
Listen, the Solar Guard's here. They're wise.
Since when? There's been no ships on our radar.
They sneaked up on the other side of Rhea, didn't register.
Wait a minute. What's the code word, Malvern?
There's no time for that, I tell you.
If you're Malvern, give it to me.
I forget, Chief. I'm too excited.
Space dust. Hey, wait a minute. You must be the Colonel Malvern was talking about, the Solar Guard Big Shot.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I'm Cowan. And I'm warning you not to attack.
Don't you know better to waste your breath? You can't fight back, and we're coming in.
Listen to me. He switched off.
Good try, sir, but it doesn't look as if we can stop them from blasting the dome.
No. Come on, Tom. We have to warn everybody. Tell them to get into spacesuits.
Yes, sir, and then try to find a way to win out against mighty rough odds. Colonel, there's Bailey, the fellow we talked to first.
Good. Bailey, have everybody get spacesuits, quickly.
Hey, how'd you two get loose? Stay back or I'll shoot.
Oh, no, he must be another one of the gang.
I doubt it. If so, he'd have left. Why the gun, Bailey?
I know all about you. Malvern told us. You're crazy, dangerous.
That killer thinks of everything.
Listen, Bailey, Malvern lied to you. He's one of the gang who are going to attack Rhea any minute.
Yeah, that proves you're space happy. Keep away from me.
Listen, Bailey, the atmosphere dome is going to be blasted. Everyone on Rhea is going to be wiped out unless you move fast.
I don't believe it. Stay away.
Tell me, Bailey, where's Malvern now?
How should I know?
Well, I think I know. He and Max are getting spacesuits. so they can live when the air dome goes.
Why, you're lying. You
Don't believe me, eh? Well, look over there behind you.
I don't see that.
Take him, Corbett.
Right.
All right, I got him, sir.
Let it go. Let it go.
Don't struggle. We won't hurt you.
Malvin warned me I should have killed him.
Let him go, Cadet. I've got his gun now.
Don't blast me, please.
Don't worry, we won't.
Look, Bailey, would it do any harm to get everybody into spacesuits?
Wait a minute. I'm all mixed up.
No time. Corbett, look up there at that dot in the sky.
Great Jupiter, it's the killer ship coming in to attack.
All right, Colonel. Everyone's in suits. Did you find anything we can fight with?
Not a thing. The jet boat we came in is useless. And there's nothing that flies unless you count body jets.
What, against spaceship?
No weapons except the handguns you distributed either. Why, they'd be all right for close combat, but they're just pop guns in a fight like this.
Well, I hope maybe you fellas can find something in the storehouse, something we wouldn't think of.
Only a lot of building material, jars of chemicals and acids, lab equipment, nice breakable stuff.
But nothing to fight a battle with.
Here on Rhea, we've been busy making medicine to save lives. We never thought about taking it.
Here it is. They fired a warhead.
The dome's gone. Helmets on, everyone!
Oh, we've told them this much. We won't die of suffocation.
Uh-oh. It doesn't look as if they're counting on suffocation. They're firing warheads at us point blank.
That's bad. It won't take many to blow this area to space dust.
Bailey, where is the medicine store? The F3.
Over there, the small white building.
Get everybody into it. That's what the gang's after. So they'll treat it with kid gloves.
Yeah. Come on, man, this way.
We better follow, Corbett. It'll give us time to think.
Wait, sir. The ship's still firing, but no warheads are landing here. Funny.
Yes, it... Look, there's another ship, and it's fighting the gang.
The Polaris. Astro and Roger finally got the old girl patched up. It's just limping along, though.
They're in no shape to take on that gang, but they certainly have nerve.
If nerve is only enough. But two men trying to fight with a patched-up ship. Oh, Jupiter, look at that. They're hit. Their firepower is gone.
Well, I'm afraid that does it, Corbett. No, they're still underway. What are they doing?
Heading for the gang ship. They're going to ram.
They did. The ships are locked together. But both of them are out of control. They're crashed.
It won't be a real crash, sir. The rockets are still giving some support. And the gravity is low here. They'll spin into the ground not far from the dome.
By the rings of Saturn, you're right.
Let's go, Colonel. Roger and Astro may need help.
Someone's coming toward us from one of the ships. Get your gun ready, Corbett.
All ready, sir. Hey, it's Roger. Roger, are you all right? And where's Astro?
Get down, Tom, both of you.
Hit the dirt, sir. See what I mean? Those space rats can still fire. We'd better start crawling to the dome. Okay, but Astro... He's trapped on the power deck, but he has tools. Says he'll cut his way out in a few hours. Great. Meanwhile, the gang can't fire on the Polaris without smashing their own ship.
Boys, I think the gang's finished. If we get out of range of their big guns, they'll have to come out of their ship sometime, and then it'll be a man-to-man fight.
Right, sir. Hey, what's that noise? Jupiter, they're coming out of the ship now. But it won't be any man-to-man fight. Look, great galaxy, an armored tank.
That's one of the Martian killer tanks. No ordinary weapon can dent it.
It's got rocket guns. Let's get out of here.
We can't fight that any more than we could the ship. Warn the men, Corbett.
To do what? That tank can hunt them down anywhere on this little hunk of rock. And it'll blast the installations to space dust. There is nothing we can do, sir. Not a thing.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spacemen, today we're honored to have a distinguished visitor from outer space. He is Flavius the Elder, Prime Minister of the asteroid Orius. Sir, did you have a smooth space trip? Oh, I see. Well, you know, spacemen, it's a bit difficult to understand the people of Orius. It takes years of study, so I'll interpret for you. The Prime Minister says he was shaken up by the moon tides while blasting through Jupiter's orbit. Oh, after the ship steadied off, the stewardess made you feel good with a magic formula. Well, what was it like? I understand. It came in a box. You opened it and poured rich golden brown flakes into a bowl. And then you poured milk and sprinkled sugar over it. And you say it tasted wonderful? You had how many? 3 bowls. Mr. Prime Minister. Was the name on the box Kellogg's Pep? It was. Well, sir, you'll forgive me, but Arias must be a very backward planet. There is no secret magic to Kellogg's Pep. Almost everybody in the solar system knows about the built-up wheat cereal. Every spaceman starts off his day with Pep. It helps give you lots of food energy to make a good start on the day. And Pep has those vitamins necessary to build strong bones and tough muscles. The Prime Minister says he's going to stock up with a good supply of Pep right away. And, spaceman, you know that's a good idea. So ask Mom to get you a package of the build-up wheat cereal today. Kellogg's Pep.
As the Space Gang's armored killer tank charges toward the shattered atmosphere dome, Tom, Roger, and Colonel Cowan fall back to warn the men of their danger. With their hand weapons useless against the heavy armor of the tank, and with no way to defend themselves against its rocket guns, it appears that they have lost their battle to save the precious medicine of the satellite of life.
Colonel Cowan, what's going on? Is the ship still firing? Worse, Bailey. Those space crawlers have a tank. Tell the men to scatter. Hide if they can, but not in here. You won't be safe even around the building holding the medicine now. The tank can pick you off one by one. Corbett's right, Bailey. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the medicine, the viricide, they'll get all the F3. Isn't there anything we can do?
Nothing. That tank's invulnerable to anything we've got.
Blast. Okay, Colonel. You and the cadets better hurry, too.
Come on, sir. Let's get moving. Corbett and Manning, go along.
Well, what about you, sir?
I'm staying. Perhaps I can get in one lucky shot.
That's impossible. You'll be killed.
I've failed in my mission. Failed all the people who need F3. Failed my wife. Going to die without it. So you go on.
Wait, Captain. Come with us to the storehouse.
The storehouse? What for?
Oh, please, sir. Come on, hurry. Before they blast it.
All right, Corbett. But why?
A wild idea. There's still something we can try. The body jets. We can fly with them, but not far enough or fast enough to escape.
Anyway, escaping won't save the medicine.
I wasn't thinking about escape. We'll attack. With what? Those big jars of acids we saw, Colonel. In this gravity, we can carry several apiece. Drop them on the tank.
Acid. Yes, acid can get through every crack. Eat into the tank controls. By the rings of Saturn, it might work at that.
Hey, Junior, this could be our big chance. The only one we have left, so let's make it good.
Over the tank. Start dropping the jars of acid.
Right, sir. Jars away!
2 direct hits. Great work, boys.
They don't seem to notice.
Guess their guns are making so much racket they never even heard the crash.
Well, try another one, Roger. Okay, here goes. Missed with that one. Close, though. Could be just as good. The acid will splash up against the tank's bottom.
Follow the tank, boys. Stay directly over it where they can't spot us. And be sure you don't get any acid on your spacesuit.
Okay, sir. Hey, the right hit that time. We've got to stop that thing before it gets the men. It's a miracle they've managed to escape so far. There's one man down there who's not escaping. Look at him, Tom. He's on nuts.
Running right toward the tank.
It's Melbourne. I guess he expects the tank to stop and pick him up. They're not stopping, not even slowing down.
Ran right over it, his own pal.
Colonel, that's something else. The tank's in trouble. Look at that smoke pouring out of the engine.
It's working, boys. They're losing control. The acid's working.
Uh-oh. Look at the hatch. It's opening.
A perfect chance. Drop another jar. Fast. Mine's gone.
Oh, I just dropped my last jar. Me too.
Then we're in trouble. They've spotted us through the hatch. They're trying to angle their guns up high to knock us down.
Look out, they're backing. That gives them enough elevation. Jupiter has got a train full on us. Why not dart? We'll never make it. Miss! And that gun will never fire again, sir. It's out of commission. The acids have knocked out the controls.
That goes for the whole tank, boys. Those space rats will have to come out and fight on even terms now.
Them, they don't like that idea. Look at them, piling up with their hands up. Colonel, we've done it. We've won.
Yes, Tom, we've won. The whole universe has won. Boys, thanks largely to you, Rhea will remain, for all the world,
the satellite of light.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom, Corbett, and the Space Cadets on Tuesday, when they look forward to a pleasurable rest on the planet Venus, but find themselves involved in a desperate pursuit of danger. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast were Jan Merlin, Neil O'Malley, Dick Keith, and Ian Martin. Today's program was written by Don Hughes and directed by Drex Himes. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Raisins and Bran Flakes, too. They're out of this world. They're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Kellogg's raisins are honeycomb coated to keep them tender. The Bran Flakes crisper. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Raisins and Bran Flakes, too. They're out of this world. They're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are standing in a lonely forest clearing. The dawn turned gray by the creeping fog. While standing only yards from you, his eyes filled with his hate for you, is a man who's come to take your life. Unless you first take his.
Listen now as Escape brings you The Second Shot, a story based on the classic tale by Alexander Dumas.
Gentlemen, ready?
Yes. Get on with it.
There is no way by which you can compose your differences, settle your quarrel, except by this. Lieutenant W.A.
There is none.
Lieutenant Moussin.
I am not the challenger. Lieutenant Daumier is.
If my opponent wishes to withdraw at this point with a certain loss of honor...
The lieutenant forgets himself.
My apologies.
Monsieur, will you be kind enough to proceed?
Very well. Your seconds have examined these pistols and pronounced them perfectly matched. They are loaded. Will you make your choice, Lieutenant Daumier?
This one should do nicely.
Lieutenant Moussin? Gentlemen, you will take your places. Here, where I have planted my saber in the ground. Back to back, if you please. You will raise your pistols to shoulder height. Hold them pointed upward. Good. Now the terms of the duel are these. When Major Cole's count, you will walk slowly away from each other. On a count of 10, you will turn and fire. Regardless of the effects of the shots, the duel is then declared finished and the quarrel ended. Is that satisfactory to both of you?
Quite satisfactory.
Yes, of course.
Are you ready, Major Colt?
Yes. There's no other way of... Yes, I'm ready.
Gentlemen.
At your pleasure.
Yes, go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Otamaju, hurry, please. See what you can do for him.
Your son had a premonition this would happen, Major Cole.
He didn't need a premonition. Common sense could have told him.
True. Donier never misses.
Well.
Is he dead, Major?
Fact, I think, is obvious. Congratulations, Lieutenant Donier. Once again, you have distinguished yourself by your excellent shooting. It is unfortunate, however, that you so often see fit to direct it against your own comrades in arms.
He insulted me, sir. A man must defend...
Good day, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Donier reporting as requested, sir.
At ease, Lieutenant. Let me see here. According to this dossier, you were assigned to my regiment some 7 months ago, having just been commissioned from the Academy at Saint-Cyr.
Yes, sir.
Though the regiment has not been engaged in military action during that period, you have shown exemplary ability in the performance of duties assigned to you.
Thank you, sir.
Your official record is excellent, and it can be assumed you will give a good account of yourself when we move against Vienna at the end of the month.
I hope so, sir.
However, I am more concerned at the moment with your unofficial record, Lieutenant Donier.
Sir?
1 week after your assignment to my command, you challenged Subaltern Nikolov to a duel and shot and killed him.
He insulted me, sir.
6 weeks later, you challenged Lieutenant Deville to a duel, shot and killed him.
But I was only...
2 months after that, Captain Morancy, your bullet smashed his shoulder, and he was forced to retire from the service. 3 weeks ago, your victim was Lieutenant Leclerc, who still lingers in the hospital.
Does the colonel know that all...
Now, this morning, near the forest of Marengo, you shot and killed the leader of my 8th platoon, Lieutenant Musin.
The duel was conducted fairly, sir.
It was murder. You're a dead shot with a pistol. Those men didn't have a chance against you.
Then they should not be so free with their insults, Colonel. A gentleman has the right to defend his honor.
Lieutenant Donier, if all you know of honor is what you have learned on the dueling field, then I fear your education has been arrested at a very primitive stage.
I resent your implication. If you care to withdraw your remark at once, perhaps...
Lieutenant, attention!
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Donier, you were on the point of issuing a challenge to your commanding officer while standing for an official interview. You were aware of the penalty for such an action, are you not?
Yes, sir, the guillotine.
Lieutenant, in 7 months I've lost 5 men. Excellent officers, all of them. Sacrificed to that exalted sense of honor of yours. Well, there'll be no more of it. Do you understand?
But, sir,
if you persist in this career of mayhem, if you challenge another man of this regiment, I will convene a court of inquiry. If that court should find your provocation insufficient, and I am quite sure that it would, I will have you stripped of your commission and thrown out of the army. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Lieutenant?
With the colonel's permission, yes. The colonel has mentioned the penalty for challenging one superior officer under official restraint. But suppose such a challenge should be given in circumstances which are not official, and for reasons which are personal.
In that case, there is no penalty, Lieutenant Donier.
Thank you, sir.
Dismissed.
Mind if I step in, Colonel?
Of course not. Come in, Major.
Saw Donier leaving. He was boiling. What did you do to him?
Tried to threaten some of that boyish nonsense out of his head with somewhat dubious success, I'm afraid.
He has a hellish temper, all right. He was in one of my courses at Saint-Cyr. Needs a campaign to settle him down.
You'll get it. The orders are confidential, but the little corporal arrives in 2 weeks. We move against Vienna the week after.
Good. The regiment needs shaking down.
Confound it, Major Cole. Donier is worth saving if there's any way of doing it. He could be the best junior officer in the regiment if he'd only grow up. If he could only develop the slightest maturity. Now, do you realize that I am barely 12 years older than he is?
It's the campaigns. Italy, Egypt, you had to grow up. Wait till we move against the Austrian army. That will settle him down.
I hope so.
By the way, Colonel, you recall my telling you of a niece of mine?
Marianne?
Yes. Well, she's here. Came up from San Cyr this afternoon for a surprise visit. I wondered if you would care to join us at dinner tonight.
Of course.
Well, then it's settled. Forget about Donier. You'll straighten out in time.
Possibly. If he doesn't destroy himself first.
Or someone else.
Or someone else.
Colonel Pepper, you're a most remarkable man.
Remarkable?
I've been telling it to Marianne for 3 years now.
With the way you described him, Uncle Jean, I had pictured a battle-scarred veteran of a dozen campaigns, tired and worn, and even older than you are.
Oh, heaven forbid.
But instead I find, well...
You, find what, Marianne?
No, not another word. I fear I may have said enough now to turn your head.
Oh, I rather think you'll find his head a bit more firmly attached than those of the cadets you know at San Cyr.
Oh, Uncle Jean, what a thing to say.
Captain D'Autrec has just come in. There's a matter I'd like to see him about, if you'll excuse me, sir.
Of course, Major. Marianne, how long will you be here?
A week, possibly 2, unless the campaign begins sooner. Oh, I know, it's a dark secret. But there is gossip, of course.
I see.
Oh, they're going to dance. Of course I accept. I'd love to.
Oh, no, really now.
Come on. There's much less danger in a cotillion than there is in a cavalry charge.
Is there? My arm, Marianne.
And a thin blue line far across the valley there, almost hidden in the haze. What is that, Colonel Perrault?
The Danube.
Oh.
It's an objective once we open the campaign.
The campaign. Danger, death. It's difficult to imagine when everything is so peaceful now. The birds, flowers, even the hills are happy today.
And you, my dear?
I'm happy, too. Very happy.
Then forget the campaign. Today it doesn't matter.
And what does matter today?
You.
I?
You must have known it. I'm not experienced at hiding such things. Marianne.
I think the carriage driver is anxious to leave.
The devil take the carriage driver.
Why, you're more impetuous than a cadet.
Where you're concerned.
It's getting late.
Marianne.
No, please. We only met 3 days ago.
A week, then. Will a week be long enough, my dear?
I think perhaps it will. Ask me then.
Donier, are you there?
Yes, come in.
Assembly and review in 5 minutes. Are you ready? Yes, if I can get this tunic straight. There. Here's your saber. Full review every 3rd day now. Something must be up. The Austrian campaign will move in a matter of days. Mark my words. I hope you're right. Donier, there's something I think you ought to know.
We'd better go.
Wait. You told me once that while you were at the academy, you exchanged rings with Marianne Cole, the major's niece, right?
Yes, we're planning to be married. She wrote me she'd try to come here for a visit, but so far
Donier.
What?
Donier, she's here.
Here?
She's been here for a week.
A week? Where? What's she been doing?
Dining, dancing, driving in the countryside, walking in the garden, the usual activities of a girl who's being courted.
Courted? By whom?
By our commanding officer, my friend.
Colonel Perrault, that's a lie.
It's true, Donier. The major introduced her. The whole regiment is known, but they kept it from you. From me as well, knowing I was your friend. I just heard of it. What are you going to do about it, Donier?
We'll see, Armand.
Now let's go.
You are listening to The Second Shot, tonight's presentation on Escape. On CBS Radio's Saturday night series called Gunsmoke, we go back to the early West for the exploits of United States Marshal Matt Dillon. On most of these same stations, CBS Radio brings you the excitement of Gunsmoke every Saturday night. And now, Escape, and Act Two of The Second Shot.
Leaving us, Major?
If you will excuse me, yes, it's bedtime for a man my age.
Good night, Uncle Jean.
Good night, my dear. General?
Good night, Major. Marianne.
Yes?
Do you know what day this is?
Well, it's the day before tomorrow, of course, and a day later than yesterday. But beyond that, I must confess I've lost track of the time.
It's a week. 1 week today. You said a week should be long enough, my dear.
I did?
I love you, Marianne.
It seems so strange. For you who have been so many places, known so many women.
I don't remember any women.
For you to love me, who knows nothing and has been nowhere.
The cadets at the academy?
Oh, not one of them mattered. Not as you matter, my dear.
Marianne. Then you will marry me.
Oh, could it be at this time of night?
I suppose we should answer.
Wait, I hear Uncle Jean coming down. He'll see who it is.
Good. I'm much too comfortable to move. And the view from here is excellent.
View?
You, my dear.
Oh.
Lieutenant Donier? Rather late, Lieutenant.
My compliments to Colonel Perrault, Major. Tell him I'd like a word with him. And tell him it's personal rather than official. Quite personal.
Have the lieutenant come in, Major Cole. I gathered from your remarks to Major Cole at the door that you are not here on official military business.
The Colonel has an excellent sense of hearing. It's too bad his sense of decency is not equally admirable.
Lieutenant, may I remind you that you're addressing your superior officer?
I am aware of it, Major.
Then while you're in my home, you will conduct yourself in a manner proper to your rank.
My manner is proper enough for a man who's been grossly offended. I'm certain the Colonel will admit that the provocation he has given me is...
Lieutenant, come here.
Let him talk, Major. What provocation do you fancy I have given you, Lieutenant?
I would prefer to discuss the matter without the presence of Major Cole's niece.
Domia, you're being a fool.
I was once, but no longer.
You know each other?
Ask your niece, Major.
Stop it, Domia. We were both fools, mere children.
Oh, and now, in less than a year, you have grown up, become a lady, the Colonel's lady, no less. Though you show little regard for his feelings, since I perceive you still wear my ring on a chain about your throat.
Take it. Here. Each day I meant to give it back, but I put it off. It meant nothing.
It meant a pledge of betrothal once. Shall I remind you of the circumstances, our children's words, our children's actions?
Marianne, I must add my request to the lieutenant. Will you leave us alone, please?
Yes. Will you go, my dear?
Very well, Uncle Jean. Colonel Perrault, Nothing.
Lieutenant, were you implying some sort of understanding between you and Marianne before she came here to visit?
Is the Colonel trying to imply he was not aware of it?
I was not.
You lie.
Lieutenant. Never mind, Major. I think our young friend hardly knows what he's saying.
Then you choose to ignore my insult? Well, I will not be so lenient, Colonel Perrault. Captain Armand will call at your quarters tonight and arrange the affair.
A duel? You're challenging your commanding officer?
With the Colonel's permission, of course. Naturally, he can refuse to accept.
I accept.
No, Colonel.
I shall expect Captain Armand at my quarters later.
Colonel Perrault.
And now, Lieutenant Daumier, you are a fool. A brash, unreasoning young fool. I am telling you that quite officially. Dismissed.
He's taking his time. It's 10 o'clock.
Captain Armand is hardly as reckless as Daumier. I imagine it's taking some persuasion to get him to act in this matter.
Do as I suggest, Colonel. Demand that the duel be fought with sabers. I saw you on the barricades at Firenze.
Everyone would believe the choice was made through cowardice. It's well known if the lieutenant fights with a pistol, so be it then.
But he's a dead shot. He'll kill you.
The probabilities are in his favor.
Then how in the name of heaven can you sit there and be so calm about it?
Calm? Major, I am anything but calm. No. Not about the possibility of death. I've spent my life with death. Cheated it for years. When it comes, it comes, and for me it's overdue. It's not death. It's Marianne.
Oh, she was young. Too young. Not yet awakened. As she said herself, a childish thing. It meant nothing.
I am not so sure, Major. Perhaps the strength and surge of my own feeling may have blinded me to hers.
She's been here a week and made no effort to see him.
But she wore his ring. You see my position, Major. If I should kill him, it would be a terrible injury to her. And on the other hand, should the result be reversed, her life with him would be clouded forever by the thought that she had brought about my death.
Thus you insist on believing she cares for Daumier?
I can see no other explanation.
Except the obvious one.
Maria.
I am not ordinarily an eavesdropper. Any more than I am other things you seem to believe I am.
Marianne, at this hour, a gentleman's quarters
I
are
think
hardly
I'm
fitting.
amply chaperoned by Uncle Jean. In fact, too much so for what I have to say.
I'll wait in the passage outside, Colonel. Keep an eye out for Captain Armand.
Do you believe I have played with your affections? Treated your love lightly for some feeling of vanity in such a conquest?
I don't condemn you, my dear. My rank, perhaps, an air of experience. Anyone can be misled for a week.
I meant what I said to Daumier. It was a childish thing. So there is no reason for this duel, you see. You can't go through with it now.
But I have to, my dear. There's nothing else I can do.
Daumier is being a fool. Must you be one too?
I have no choice. Under the circumstances, I can only... It's Captain Armand.
Yes.
Come.
Yes, of course.
You can go out this way. It's better than not seeing you here.
But the duel, you must not risk your life.
Life is risk, Marianne. Now, goodbye, my dear. Come in, Captain Armand. At ease, Captain.
Yes, sir.
Major Cole here has kindly agreed to act as my second. The precise details of time and place can be arranged between you.
Yes, sir.
But as to the conditions of the duel itself, I wish to state definite requirements. This is, of course, my right as the challenged party.
Lieutenant Daumier has instructed me to accept whatever conditions you may impose, sir.
Good. And here they are. Dueling pistols, of course.
Very good. The distance?
2 paces.
2 paces?
Correct.
Colonel, are you sure of what you are saying?
2 paces? It is impossible to miss.
Each of us shall take his position and aim at his opponent, and may fire his shot at will after the count of 3.
But
Now, a final condition, Captain. One of the pistols will not be loaded.
I hardly know what to...
Colonel, it means certain death for one of you. For the one who draws the empty gun. Leaves everything else to chance.
Better so than leave it to the lieutenant's marksmanship. Well, Captain?
The Major is right. The result is purely a matter of chance, sir.
Which is proper, I think, in an affair of honor. Shouldn't fate be given a hand in the matter? Well, do you decline my terms, Captain Armand?
No, we can't decline. It's your right. Very well, Colonel. On behalf of Lieutenant Dornier, I accept.
Colonel, you're being as foolish as he is. Stop now before it's too late.
I think it's too late now, Major Cole. It appears they're all here ahead of us.
It can only mean tragedy no matter what happens.
Morning, gentlemen.
Well?
Monsieur Lautrec, I understand that you are to officiate.
If the Colonel pleases.
Of course. Pistols are in this case. I've already seen you the loading.
Do you know which is the loaded gun, Colonel?
It doesn't matter, since Lieutenant Dornier will have first choice.
Quite so. Will you choose your weapon, Lieutenant?
I will.
You hesitate, Lieutenant. I was told you always approach these affairs with a certain ease and confidence.
This one.
That is your final choice, Lieutenant?
Yes.
Very well. Colonel?
Thank you.
If you will take your places, gentlemen. The sabers are planted in the ground 2 paces apart. You will stand back of them and face your opponent. Are you ready, gentlemen?
At your pleasure, monsieur.
Lieutenant Dornier?
Yes, of course. Get on with it.
You understand that neither of you will fire before the count of 3? Good. Gentlemen, you will take aim.
You're trembling, Lieutenant. Did you tremble in your other duels?
Count. Go ahead and count.
1, 2, 3.
Fate seems to be against you, Lieutenant Dornier. You drew the empty gun. Fire.
Fire and get it over with.
It's a new feeling for you, isn't it, Lieutenant? Looking into the muzzle of a pistol and knowing it holds death for you. It's a feeling 5 of your previous opponents had. A feeling one learns in campaigns and battles. At the same time, one learns the real meaning of honor. It's called fear, Lieutenant. Fire, you devil!
Don't torture him, Colonel. Do as he says. Get it over with.
Torture! Is his torture any greater than that he imposed on others? Men who meant no insult to him, but were forced to face certain death from his marksmanship because of his self-acclaimed sense of honor? Is it too bad such drastic measures as this were required to bring to an end your career of slaughter, Lieutenant? Fire! Pull the trigger!
We back up you, Colonel.
Very well, gentlemen. An end to your last duel, Lieutenant.
A misfire. Look.
No. Quite the contrary. Lieutenant Dornier, next week we move against Austria, and France will have need of all her officers. I did not wish to waste your life or mine. Neither of the pistols was loaded.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you The Second Shot, based on a story by Alexander Dumas, specially adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, starring John Daner with Vic Perrin. Featured in the cast were Ellen Morgan, Ben Wright, Harry Bartell, Jack Crucian, and Lou Krugman. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are standing at the entrance of a walled Arab town. While behind you, coming slowly through the night, are the shuffling footsteps of a blind beggar who will lead you into a harrowing world of darkness and terror.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Kathleen Height's terrifying story, The Return. Your purchase of Easter seals is your way of extending the only aid there is for the crippled and disabled. Organized hospital, clinical, and laboratory campaigns to cure the curable and to lessen the burdens of those who can't be completely well again. Buy Easter seals. Make your generous contribution a fighting force to expand treatment, research, and education. The three weapons of hope and cure for the crippled and disabled in America. America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have become infected with a dangerous, weakening sickness and are frantically searching a laboratory on Venus, hoping to find the one medicine that will cure them.
If we don't get some of that solution soon, we'll be of no use to ourselves or anybody. Believe me, sir. Right now, I'm just going on my own momentum. Up there on the top shelf, I found it. Yeah. That's it. That's the remedy. Be careful lifting it down. It's probably all there is in the whole place. We only get it to the ship before Drokov finds it. It's a matter of Drokov. And he's got a blast gun. Commander, the blast smashed the bottle. The medicine's gone.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Talarma.
Hi, Space Patrollers. Commander Corey here. How'd you like to have a soda fountain in your home? You can, you know. I'm not kidding. If you have a big brown yellow can of Nestle's Quick on the shelf, your kitchen is a real soda fountain. Because Nestle's Quick makes the smoothest, richest chocolate milk you've ever tasted. That's the kind of drink you could never make at home before. And now, well, you can have it any time you like. Quick fixes so fast it practically makes itself. Now listen to this. You just pour yourself a glass of milk. That comes first. Then you add 2 teaspoons of Nestle's Quick. Quick starts right in the mix itself. All you have to do is spoon it around once or twice. And there you are. A big, frosty, cool glass of chocolate milk that tastes just like those delicious Nestle's chocolate bars. You can't beat that anywhere. Quick gives you something more. It helps build strong bones and sound teeth because it's fortified with vitamin D. Now, believe me, fellows and girls, you're going to love having Quick around for easy fixing, for solid nourishment, and for delicious soda fountain treats. Mom will see that when you have Nestle's Quick, you drink your milk up better than ever. So today, ask her to bring home the big brown and yellow can of Nestle's Quick. That's Q-U-I-K, Quick. And it's delicious.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Talarma. Drokov, a criminal from another solar system, is using a strange and powerful weapon to gain control of the United Planets. By releasing millions of microscopic spores from a poisonous plant into a city's atmosphere, he can reduce the entire population to spiritless automatons, lacking both the energy and desire to cure the condition that afflicts them. Commander Corey has been able to save Saturn City from the epidemic thanks to the aid of Gelwin, a galactic crime investigator from the Talarma star system. Right now in Space Patrol headquarters at Saturn City, Buzz and Happy face the task of capturing Drokov before he can strike again.
Here, Hap. This is the latest report from the medical section. Put it with the others. Yes, sir. All the documents you wanted to take with us are right here on the desk.
Quite a stack.
Now that the panic's over, what good are they?
You'll know what to expect if Drokov spreads his poisonous plant as weed of despair in some other city.
I hope we nab him before he has a chance.
What we saw here in Saturn City could happen to a whole planet. Millions of people with nothing wrong with them physically, but with a weariness of spirit, complete loss of vitality. And that wouldn't take much to conquer such a planet.
Well, there's one consolation. It doesn't take very much of the remedy to cure the sickness.
Don't forget, every drop of the solution we had was used up here in Satin City. Brokoff controls the rest.
Well, how about Dr. Arnold's experiments? Didn't he tell us that he was sure he could duplicate the chemical structure of the remedy?
It's a matter of whether Dr. Arnold can stay on his feet when the job's finished. Carol to help him, he may succeed. We can't count on Dr. Arnold performing a chemical miracle. We've got to find Brokoff.
It's going to be tough. We don't even know what he looks like.
We've got a good ally in Gelman. He knows Brokoff's methods. He's just as anxious to capture Brokoff as we are.
Get it, will you? Yes, sir. Cadet Happy here. Yes, Sergeant. Oh, just a moment, please. Commander, it's communications.
Probably, Carol. I'll take it. Go ahead.
Hello, Buzz. How are things in Saturn City?
Well, fine, Carol. Transportation is 90% normal. Communication's a little better than that.
Wonderful. Any new cases?
None reported. Everything's pretty well under control.
Any word about Droke?
No. Gelman hasn't reported in since 700 hours. I let him take a Space Patrol cruiser to check the lead out toward Jupiter. How are you and Dr. Arnold coming along?
Well, I'm fine. Dr. Arnold's in the Carroll Hospital. He collapsed his chest a while ago.
Is it serious?
He's supposed to have complete rest and quiet for 24 hours. I've been trying to decipher his notes, but believe me, it's some job.
Are you close to anything definite, or is it too early to tell?
I don't want to be too optimistic, Buzz, but it looks good. Awfully good. Doctor's last experiment cracked the key to the protein chain.
Well, that's great.
Only get his notes and shape. Our lab chemist may be able to make the remedy synthetic.
Fine. But don't work too hard. Remember what happened to Dr. Arnold.
So much depends on his buzz, I couldn't slow down if I wanted to.
All right, Carol. Happy and I are blasting off for Terra right away. We'll see you in a few hours.
I'll be at Dr. Arnold's lab, Buzz. And with good news, I hope.
Good luck. Hurry out.
She really sounds like she was on the right track, doesn't she?
Yes, sir. If she is, we'll be prepared for Brokoff's next epidemic of despair. Let's get to the spaceport.
Upon landing at Terra, Buzz and Happy go at once to Dr. Arnold's laboratory. There they find Carol slumped in a chair, exhausted. Scattered about the floor are crumpled slips of paper filled with chemical formulae.
Well, hi, Carol. Nobody answered our knock, so we barged right in. Hey, Carol.
Carol. Carol.
Hello, Buzz.
How did you make out?
Make out?
With the experiments for the remedy.
Oh, that. Hey, it's no use. It's all so futile.
You sounded so confident in the spaceableness and Saturn.
Oh, you're just tired, Carol. Here, I'll pick up the notes, and later when you're rested...
Throw them in the rubbish disintegrator. That's what I was going to do, and I felt up to it.
Oh, look at it. Raise your head.
Yes, sir.
Look, look. Her eyes. Like a dark circle around them. They look sort of glassy.
I thought about it. Ordinary fatigue, but something else.
Come on. She looks just like those people on Saturn.
Carol, who else has been in this lab besides you and Dr. Arnold?
No one.
Now, think carefully. Has anyone been in here? Anyone at all? Those flowers over there on the table, how did they get here?
The messenger brought them.
Where are they from?
I forget. The cards in the basket.
Get it, Peter.
Oh, yes, sir.
Carol hasn't been off Terra. That means she caught the sickness here. It hasn't affected Dr. Arnold. His case is entirely different. What's on that card?
It's printed, sir. It says, to Miss Carol Carlisle with the compliments of the management of Sun Gardens, Venus.
Carol, what is this Sun Gardens, do you know?
It's a new park or something. Flowers are a promotion stunt, I suppose.
That means hundreds of baskets may have been sent out. Pat, let's look at those flowers.
There must be a dozen different kinds, eh? And what I know about flowers, you can engrave on a tulip seed.
Tulips grow from bulbs.
Proves my point.
This proves mine. Look at this thing hidden among the flowers.
A weed with a purple pod. Throw calls in it.
Got to seal up this lab and get Carol to the hospital. And we got to find out who else received flowers from Brokoff.
Near the banks of the turquoise river on the planet Venus is a group of buildings once used as field offices by the Venus Fruit Company. Now the small settlement serves as a base of operations for Brokoff, a criminal sought by the interplanetary police of 2 solar systems. At this moment, Brokoff stands before a small plastic dome as his accomplice, Larch Feister, emerges, cautiously shuts the door tightly, and removes the heavy mask and gloves.
I'd rather do anything in the universe than go into that dome with a wasp. Anything. Well, then you shouldn't object to your next assignment.
What is it, Brokoff?
The Secretary General's daughter, Carol, is quite sick. And it appears that I am the only one who can cure her.
Well, when your plan works, you got the flowers.
Yes, most unfortunate. She was working on a process to cure the very sickness that attacked her.
Well, you told me the only cure comes from those insects in there, those wasps.
That's right, Maestro. The insects feed on that plant, and their bodies develop an antitoxin. But forget the wasps. I want you to take the spaceship and contact Commander Corey.
Contact Corey?
Yes, by spaceophone. You will present my terms for curing the daughter of the Secretary General.
Now, Brokaw, listen. If you get into trouble, you can get away to another solar system. But I'm a citizen of the United Planets. I can't afford
You should have thought of that before. It's too late to back out now. Now, here are your instructions.
Elsewhere in Commander Corey's central office on Terra, Buzz inserts a spool of microtape in the playback machine.
Listen to this, Happy. Communications picked up this message and recorded it. Yes, sir.
Attention, all Space Patrol communication centers. This is a message to Commander Corey. Relay it to him immediately. I'm speaking for Drokov, the only person in the entire universe who can restore the health of Carol Carlisle. Don't waste time trying to locate the source of this signal. Just listen.
From the spaceship, isn't it?
Carol Carlisle will be completely cured if you cooperate. Bring Carol and the sum of 50,000 credits to the point in space which I will give you in a moment. Upon payment of this money, Carol will be given enough of the remedy to effect the cure. Do not attempt to capture Drokov's ship either before or after our rendezvous in space. Here are your instructions. Your ship with Carol and the 50,000 credits must be at the intersection of the Mars orbit and space meridian 84.06 at 1300 hours.
That's it, Hank. As you can see, Brokov's being very keen. If we could only grab Brokov's version, we don't have any lead on him. Our agents have checked the employees of Sun Gardens and Venus. They're all clear. Brokov or one of his men managed to put that poisonous plant in the basket and send it to Carol. How about the other basket? They've been examined. Carol was the only one who received the weed of the storm. Well, how about Gelvin? Maybe he's located Brokov. No word from Gelvin. It's all up to us. What are we going to do? The one thing we can do to save Carol. Put her and the money aboard Terra 5 and head for the Mars orbit.
At 1300 hours, the Terra 5 approaches the rendezvous point. As a private cruiser draws close, Buzz and Happy wait anxiously for a spaceophone signal. But Carol, whose life depends on the success of this mission, sits bored and silent in the control compartment, showing no interest in proceeding.
That must be Brokov's ship. Why don't we cut on the spaceophone? Brokov might interpret it as a signal for other space patrols. Because of Carol, we'll have to play it Brokov's way.
Drokov calling Commander Corey aboard the Terra 5.
Here we go. Corey here. Go ahead, Brokaw.
So far, Corey, you seem to have obeyed my instructions. There are no ships visible in our view scope.
They've been ordered to remain outside a 10,000 DU perimeter of this point until Carol is safely back on Terra.
That's very good. Now, when we join airlock with your ship, you will send Carol through the airlock with the 50,000 credits.
Just a matter of giving her a few ounces of the solution. Why don't you come aboard our ship?
Because I don't trust you. Send Carol into my cruiser alone.
How do I know I can trust you?
You have no other choice if you want to save Carol.
All right, join airlocks. I'll send her aboard. Corey out. Carol, are you listening?
Yes, Buzz.
Are you willing to walk alone to the airlock in the other ship?
Oh, Buzz, I'm so tired.
Now, Carol, listen. If you do this one little thing for me, you can have a nice long nap. No one will bother you. How about it?
All right.
We're in contact, sir. Come on, Carol. It won't take long. On your feet. I'll help you to the airlock. Steady now. Gee, man, I'm getting worried. Carol's been in Brokov's ship for nearly an hour. We're in no position to pressure him. I've got to find out what the trouble is. Corey, calling Brokov. Brokov, what's wrong over there?
Nothing, Commander. Everything's just fine.
Well, what's the delay? Shouldn't take you an hour to count 50,000 credits.
Oh, the money is quite satisfactory, Corey. I've merely been waiting for Carol to get up enough energy to return to your ship. She was in quite a weakened condition, you know.
Then let one of us come and get her. I guarantee I won't try anything.
Carol is on her feet now and on her way through the airlock.
All right, Brokaw, forget this. We're not cutting our holding field until we're satisfied we gave her the remedy for the sickness.
You'll see the improvement immediately, Corey. Brokaw out.
Maybe you're telling the truth, sir. That's possible. All Carol can do to get into Brokaw's ship. The remedy takes some time to have an effect. She's at the inner hatch, sir. All right, half open.
Carol. Draw call.
I decided to bring Miss Carroll back personally. And don't move. I got a gun in her back.
What's the idea, Draw call?
I changed my plans, Corey.
Carol, did he give you that medicine?
Yes, I drank something, but I don't understand all this. I'm afraid I said something I shouldn't.
He told me about some experiments of hers.
Buzz, I didn't realize what I was doing.
I can't let that knowledge out of my control. I'm taking the three of you with me.
But you promised.
And just to make sure there'll be no trouble... And now, Carol, if you want to keep your friends alive, you'll do as I say.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
Do, re, mi.
Well, Lisa, are you getting ready for a concert?
Yes, I am, Captain Two-Felt. I'm going to sing our gang's favorite song.
I'd sure like to hear that. Would you give me a little preview?
Sure. Nestles, Nestle's make the very best chocolate. How do you like it?
Oh, I love it, Isa. Matter of fact, when you sing about Nestle's new coconut bar, I think it's everybody's favorite.
I'm crazy about coconuts. Gee, what a wonderful chocolate bar. So thick and sweet and smooth and rich. And all that crispy coconut inside. Golly, I just can't get enough of it.
Yes, Nestle's new coconut bar makes me feel that way, too. Can't get enough of that wonderful chocolate flavor and that fresh toasted coconut. You know, it's so crisp and so much fun to eat, I think we ought to have some right now. That is, of course, if you can eat before your concert.
Gee, I can eat a Nestle's coconut bar anytime. Smoking rockets, this is the greatest. Honestly, gang, you ought to try the sensational new Nestle's coconut bar in the red and cream-colored wrapper. Just one taste of this terrific new flavor combination, and you'll love it just as I do.
Matter of fact, Space Patrollers, you'll go for all of Nestle's rich, smooth, luscious chocolate bars. You can take your pick of rich milk chocolate, almond chocolate, crunchy crunch, or the brand new Nestle's coconut.
Whatever your favorite is, remember, Nestles, Nestle's make the very best chocolate.
And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Fugitive from Talarma. The Secretary General's daughter, Carol, was suffering from a rapid loss of vitality caused by a plant known as the Weed of Despair. Brokoff, who controls the entire supply of the only remedy, offered to cure Carol for 50,000 credits. After treating Carol, he entered the Terra 5 using the girl as a shield and rendered Buzz and Happy unconscious with a ray gun. Right now, the Space Patrollers and Carol are prisoners aboard Brokoff's private cruiser.
You're a dirty double-crosser, Brokoff. If I could get my hands
Stop
free...
wasting my time with your empty threats. Remember, I could easily have thrown you out into space.
We know why you didn't. It'd be hard to explain our disappearance to the Space Patrol when you're caught.
There is another reason, Corey. If I had destroyed you, Carol would refuse to give me the information I want.
What information?
On how antitoxin for the weed of despair can be produced synthetically. She and Dr. Arnold seem to have blundered onto the answer.
If I told you anything, it was because I was weak and didn't realize what I was doing. I won't tell you any more.
Oh, yes, you will. Unless you want to see your friends suffer.
Brokoff, did you ever consider what would happen if the sickness got out of control and you couldn't stop it?
No, that has happened in another solar system.
Talarma. That's why Galvin's after you.
I will take care of Galvin just as I'm taking care of you.
What do you do with our ship? Blow it up?
No, Corey. My assistant Pfister is going to hide it on one of Jupiter's moons. It will serve as a spare star drive ship in case we suddenly have to leave your solar system.
Who's Pfister? Is he from Talarma, too?
Oh, no. He's one of your own citizens. He'll join me on Venus in another ship after he hides the Terra 5. And now, if you will excuse me, I'll get to the controls. We are approaching Venus.
Landing near the abandoned buildings near the Turquoise River, Brokoff forces his passengers from the ship at gunpoint. He locks Carol in one building, then takes Buzz and Happy to a structure adjoining a small, transparent dome that shields the wasps and the poisonous plants.
Right in here, gentlemen.
What are you going to do with Carol?
It depends on how well she cooperates. There is a small laboratory here. Possibly she and I can manufacture a cure for the sickness.
How will you know if you've succeeded?
It's very simple. We will test it on you.
On us? We haven't got the sickness.
No, not yet. But you soon will. Do you see that air duct up near the ceiling?
What about it?
Well, it leads to that small plastic dome. next to this building. When I turn a valve, air from that dome will enter this room. Air containing millions of spores from those purple weeds. And when I return, you will have lost your will to resist. You will be quiet, docile, and weak.
You're going to use us as guinea pigs, is that it?
Exactly. And if you're hoping I'll be affected too, I am very sorry to disappoint you. The remedy has made me immune to the spores. I'll see you later, gentlemen.
Well, now what can I do? We'd stand a fat chance of breaking that door down. And the window's too small to crawl through.
Maybe there's something in here we could use to plug up that air duct.
There's nothing in the room. No rags, paper, or anything. Oh, yeah, got it. Our jackets. If we could remove the screen from the vent and stuff our jackets in there.
Good idea.
Crowcroft's opened the valve. Air's feeding through from the dome.
Happen. I'll boost you up on my shoulders. You stuff your jacket into the vent. Let the sleeve hang down so we can grab it in a hurry.
Yes, sir.
When we hear Brokoff at the door, get your jacket on quickly. We put him to be weak and groggy, like Carol was.
Great.
Okay, let's work fast. Up you go. Right. How's that, Happy?
Oh, fine, sir. I can reach the vent, okay. Now to take my jacket off. From the look of that screen, it won't be any trouble. I'll just tie it off and... Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
The vent pipe is full of wasps. They must have been sucked in from the dome by the rush of air. When I take the screen off, they'll come swarming into the room.
Maybe we won't be stung. Move very slowly. Most people are stung by bees and wasps because they get excited and flash their arms around. Just take it easy.
Don't worry, Commander. I will. I wonder when Brokoff's coming back.
I hope it's soon. I'm afraid some of that contaminated air is getting in here in spite of the jacket. How do you feel, Happy?
To tell you the truth, I'm sort of tired.
Remember, when Brokoff does come in, he comes a week in the jacket.
If he doesn't come in pretty soon, we won't be pretending. Anyway, we didn't get stung by the wasps. You were right about moving slowly, sir. There are several in here in the room, and they haven't even come near us.
Somebody's outside. The cat pulled your jacket out of the hand.
Yes, sir. I hope it doesn't stir up the wasps.
I hope it does. Don't bother putting it on. I'm tired.
Well, gentlemen, how do you feel? Aren't you going to answer me? Well, it doesn't matter. Come on. Come on, I said.
What for?
Yes, Brokoff. We aren't causing any trouble.
No, not you, but Carol is. She won't cooperate. But if she could see me work you over some, she might change her attitude. Let's go.
Oh, why don't you bring Carol here?
I said no.
Do I have to?
A very definite symptom. No sensitivity to pain. Well, maybe you will feel... What? How did they get in there?
You were all right till you stirred them up. Come on, Happy, let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Those wasps will keep Brokoff busy for a while. We'll get Carol.
I slugged him, but it didn't even fail him.
I know. The poison plan is taking effect. We're both weak. No match for Brokoff.
Here's where he locked Carol up.
It's locked.
I wonder if he's got enough strength to break it down.
Let's hit it together with all we've got.
1, 2, 3. It's giving way. Once more.
Why, Pappy?
Come on, Carol. Brokoff will be after us pretty quick.
Yeah, we couldn't disarm him.
Oh, if only we can get to his ship and blast off.
First, we got to get some of that remedy for the sickness. Where's the lab, you know?
I think it's that building over there, Bobby.
Come on.
Do we have to get the remedy now? I feel fine.
It's not for you, Carol. It's for us.
Into the lab, quick, before Brokoff sees us.
Well, we made it.
Start searching. Remember what to look for on the label, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Why, you mean that you and Hap have been infected?
That's right, Kevin. Trying to fight it, but if we don't get some of that solution soon, we'll be of no use to ourselves or anybody.
Believe me, right now, I'm just going on my own momentum.
Keep searching, Hank. We have to drop out of the fight. That just leaves Delvin to get Brokoff.
Maybe Delvin's out already. We haven't heard from him in 2 days.
Hap. And then the top shelf, that bottom one.
Where? Yeah. Yes, sir, that's it. That's the remedy.
Be careful lifting it down. It's probably all there is in the whole place.
If we can only get it to Brokoff's ship before he...
Buzz, look out!
It's Brokoff, and he's got a blast gun.
Stay right where you are, all of you.
Commander, the blast smashed the bottle. The medicine's gone.
That's right, Cadet. There's no more anywhere on Venus. Now, each minute, you'll get more and more tired. More full of despair.
Buzz.
Now, Carol, you'll have to help me. If you fail, you'll see your friends lose their vitality, their will to live. Eventually, they will be too tired to breathe. Their hearts too weary.
Oh, stop it, Father. I'll help you, but just save them.
Yeah. But first, I'll hug them up where there'll be no more trouble, and where there'll be no insects to help them.
I see the wasp's got in a few good jabs, Brokaw. Your face and neck are all swollen.
You'll pay for those things, don't worry.
I suppose they're pretty painful.
Yes. If it's any satisfaction to you. But it's nothing serious.
That's good. And you won't mind another sting or two.
Now, what are you talking about?
I think there's a wasp on your collar. Yeah, he's crawling up towards your neck.
Where?
Yeah, he's a big
Where?
one, too. Hey, look out, he's buzzing around. I'll get him. You know, Commander, if there had been a wasp on Brokaw, you sure would have spotted it. Pick up the gun, Hap. We'll take Brokaw to his ship. All right, on your feet.
You tricked me, Corey. But it won't do you any good. You're sick, and you'll get sicker, and nothing can save you.
We'll give you a brainograph test, and we'll know where you've hidden the remedy.
Why, there's a ship coming in. It's going to land.
That's right, Corey. And you plus, that's Pfeiffer's ship. My partner. You can't get away.
You stay here in the lab till Pfeiffer gets out of the ship, then we'll grab him.
You won't get him, Commander. He'll be on guard.
Why should he be?
Because I warned him. After you two broke away from me, I went straight to the spaceophone and put on the automatic warning signal.
What are you trying to give us?
Just wait and see. Pfeiffer knows something is wrong here, so he won't take any chances.
I'm afraid he's right, Bart. Pfeiffer could barricade himself in the ship and hold us off till the sickness took effect.
Yes, you're licked, Corey. You might as well face it.
Well, the hatch is opening in that ship that just landed.
Perhaps see if you can tell what Pfeiffer's going to do, but don't let him see you. Yes, sir.
Pfeiffer's smart. He wouldn't come close enough for you to trap him. Commander, it's Galvin.
Galvin?
Yes, sir. He's running toward us.
And he's all alone.
Galvin, Pfeiffer's ship? That's impossible.
Take a look, Brokaw. Recognize him?
It is Galvin.
Come on, Nick. I'll meet him. Get moving, Brokaw.
Hi, Galvin.
Commander. Happy. I'm certainly glad to see you. I was afraid I'd never see you again.
The feeling is mutual.
Commander, you got him. You got Brokaw.
Yes, but until you showed up, I wasn't sure we could hold him.
His partner, Pfeiffer, is locked up in the ship. And by the way, the Terra 5 is on Jupiter's third moon where Pfeiffer hit it. That's where I caught him. Commander, you and Happy look pretty sick.
I suppose we do. Brokaw managed to expose us to the weed of the ship. We've got to get treatment right away. But just the trouble, there isn't a drop of the remedy on me.
Yes, there is, Happy. There's a supply aboard Pfeiffer's ship.
Wow, Galvin, you're sure a lifesaver. Certainly are. I don't know how we can repay you.
It'll be easy. Just turn Brokaw over to me.
No, Commander, no. Don't do it. You caught me. I'm your prisoner.
Well, what's the matter, Brokaw? Don't you want to go back to Talarma? We'll make a trade, Galvin. You turn Pfeiffer over to me, and you can take Brokaw.
It's a deal. Come on, Commander. You and Happy better get some of that remedy into you right away.
Okay. I feel a lot better knowing that the people in your solar system and in ours are safe in Brokaw. Same here. Uh-oh. Brokaw, you better watch it. There's a wasp on the back of your neck.
Ah, you fool. How many times do you think you can trick me with that stupid lie? Get it off me. Get it off.
It's all right. It's flying away.
Oh, my neck. Oh, the pain is terrible.
I feel for you, Brokaw. You know, it sure must be awful when a pain in the neck gets a pain in the neck. What's new? Nestle's new. Nestle's what? Coconut. Nestle's luscious new coconut bar. That's for me. It's such a superb flavor combination. Thick, sweet, smooth milk chocolate and fresh toasted coconut. So delicious and such fun to eat because it gets crisper with every bite. Just talking about it makes my mouth water. Me too, Commander. Whenever I think about that sensational, creamy, rich, crisp-eating coconut bar, I get completely carried away. Can't concentrate. Can't work. And there's only one cure. What's that? Why, eating a Nestle's coconut bar, of course. That fixes everything. Good idea, huh? Let's all have one. Space Patrollers, you'll really go for Nestle's wonderful coconut bar. Smoking Rockets, you'll go for all Nestle's delicious chocolate bars, and especially our new favorite, coconut. Because, you know, Nestle's makes the very best chocolate. You can say that again, Hap. Gladly. Nestle's makes the very best chocolate.
Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston. Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Virginia Hewitt, Ken Mayer, Bela Kovac, and Isa Ashdown. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.